It's the golfing, and it's just, oh, some people find it off-putting. Don't be making fun of my weight, dude. You're the one that's... Oh, hey, man, I got to go, man. We're draining tonight, dude. Yeah. I'll call you back. Hey, guys, what up, yo? Man, we are back, yo. I'm sorry about the delay there. There have been storms in the greater Montgomery area, as some of you folks in the greater Montgomery area know. It's been raining here. If you were watching the Alabama State-Howard game, you know that hadn't been played because that storm that shut them down is out this way. And so we lost power. I had a picture I was going to show you guys. Yeah, I pulled it over of what I looked like, of my situation, I should say. About a minute. Well, no, it was about 8 minutes ago now, where I lost all my power, yo. And I was so frustrated because I had just started the show, as you guys know. And I took a picture. I was so pissed. I was sitting in my chair just so pissed. Cody goes, I'm sorry, administrative assistant goes, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. My stuff's all messed up. Here's what it looked like. I just took a picture. Yeah, the only thing working was my I got to size that photo. My bad, guys. The only thing working was my battery-powered peace sign. That was all. Everything shut down. I was so bitter, man. By the way, that's what it looks like in real life. And that sign, I did steal it. But they didn't need it anymore, really. I stole it from Greenville. It happens sometimes. What's up, guys? It is so awesome to be back for another season. Not just football season. As you guys know, we work through football, and then we go all the way into basketball. And the last show that we had together was from Greenville when Auburn lost, sadly, in the NCAA tournament there. And I do want to thank, again, Pocket Watch, Kanuman, and their lieutenants and field generals who were able to get me online that night, or that day, I should say, and heroic effort on all parts there. And I have not forgotten you guys. I appreciate you. Speaking of Pocket Watch, he dropped a super chat earlier. Let me go through. I know I missed some because I wasn't even online at the time. Looks like Solo Tigre was the first person to chat of the whole season. I am fired up about that because I had a chance to meet Solo Tigre there at the Bourbon event in Huntsville, and he's an absolute legend. What a stud. He knows. I told him that myself. Corey was our second guy. Corey from Montgomery area. He knows that it's been raining here. Also, Taxman in the house as well. We know we can always count on Taxman to be around. We love him. The guy seriously donated a bottle of Booker's to our Birmingham event, which was not a big event. I made a mistake by planning that the same night as the Garth Brooks concert. Oh, I got a sound for that. Oh, my sound effects are turned off. There it is. And so we didn't have a lot of dudes there, but the Booker's was delicious nonetheless. And I have retained the Booker's so that if we go to an event in the future, I will be able to break that out. But AU Taxman, what an absolute legend. CDF with a huge super chat. Starts out with a 99er. CDF, what an absolute stud you are. Always there for us all last year, probably for years and years. We love you and appreciate you. Thanks for getting us kicked off that way as well. AU Law 20 in the house as well. The aforementioned, thank you, CDF. And we're going to go through this again when we get on the front page. Pocket Watch, the aforementioned Pocket Watch with a super chat as well, saying, remember to smash that like button. We need like buttons. We need likes. That's how we get love. Well, not that kind of love. Not the Nash Tiger love. Not that kind. Or AUGNC Engineer, depending on when you saw that, which was Stolen Valor, by the way. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see, if you guys are on the main board, but a Nash Tiger posted a pretty sultry series of posts about his dating situation. If it's true, that guy is absolutely slaying dragons all night. God bless the guy. There's Fat Crack, my partner in crime on the internets when we play Warzone. Grindworks in the house. Man, everybody's back. We got the whole band back together. Jake G in the house as well. We're going to be talking about Jake G a bunch this season, and I'll explain that to you here in a minute. Ravine jumps in. We love Ravine. Always part of the show and always so generous. We actually did not have him on the show that one time, right? He had a proxy, but he did call in once. Hell yeah, fam. We are back. It's been too long without a good drain, JG. What's good, my man? I'll tell you what's good is you is what's good, Ravine. We love having you back, bro, and thank you for the support of what we doing here. Also, Adam S. says, no power, wreck strikes again. We got a laugh for that one out there. I don't think the wreck has a problem with me. I never mess with Bammers. I really don't. Thank you so much. I saw one pop through here just a minute. Oh, we got Chip Chip in the house. We're going to be talking about Chip Chip a bunch tonight, too, because Chip Chip has done some heroic things as is customary for him. Sterling in the house. He is an owner of one of these coveted bourbon glasses that Chip Chip made for us. This is from last year. Mine says Commodore because that's what I am. I don't remember. Sterling had one of the first few, though. Maybe you have number 5, maybe. Something like that, kind of early in the year. Crocky Poo jumping in with a super chat to get us started on this first show back of the year. Crocky Poo, of course, one of the all-time greats on the bunker, posts all kinds of good content, particularly with basketball, but other times too, and we love Crocky Poo. He's Crocosile22 on the board. And he says, let go, Team Auburn. He loves Auburn winning. I mean, why not? I like the positivity, though. There's guys out there on the board that are really shitting on Harson right now, and they're really down on Auburn, but not Crocky Poo. He's being realistic because you know what? Crocky Poo likes Auburn. He wants to see Auburn do well. Let's see what else we got. Oh, BP Rockman jumps in with a super chat. What a stud this guy is. How handsome is he, too, by the way? One of our Auburn area legends, along with Russ47 and Mike CB22 and let's see, like Charlie 5 and RBU1 and others. We have such great support there in the Auburn area. Ravine says, looks like the rain hasn't affected the greatness of JG's hair. Where's the laugh button? Oh, man. I'm a little slow on my Stream Deck posts there. Look at this. Cleveland Brown jumping in with a super chat as well. Says, I'm so ready for Brain Drain season 2022. Ward and Eagle. I got a message from Cleveland Brown yesterday. Cleveland Brown always has the on-topic questions for me, and it was a pleasure communicating with you yesterday. Locked On in the house as well. One of our outstanding members from the lower Alabama area, the LA area, along with Chip Chip. And many others. Mobile alum, if she is here. Mark C in the house, ready to watch D. Davis ball out. Not at Auburn, at Alabama State, but it is our time. Oh, there she is, Mobile alum 1991. JG, missed you, dude. Hey, we'll be back down there before too long. It's Maddie's junior years just kicking off now at South Alabama. And we shall see what's going on. LT Gray Esquire, I wonder. Oh, okay. It's not actually Solo T Gray. It's just LT Gray Esquire. They're related, but not necessarily. There's Canoeman posting. Glad to see it. D. Lucky, who I hung out with, had the opportunity to hang out with, 3 weeks ago now, D. Lucky, up there. And Madison is where I hung out with you and Easterwood. Two of my all-time favorites. Really glad to I'll tell you what, man, running a site like this can be challenging at times. There's some parts of the job that suck, just like with y'all's jobs, too. I'm not complaining, but some of the great stuff is that I get to meet some awesome Auburn folks. And it's hard for me personally to beat D. Lucky and Easterwood, two guys that I would definitely hang out with in my real life. Well, I do hang out with in real life, but even if I wasn't a Commodore, I would be hanging out with those guys. They're just my kind of folks. So I'm stoked to be able to meet people like that. And there's others too, and they just happen to be the ones in Madison. Canoeman jumps in again. We discussed him earlier. One of the heroes of our stay in Greenville, got us back online. Helped us get back online for sure. I would not have been able to do it without him and Pocket Watch and their various lieutenants. So it's good to be back home with the Drain family. That's what I love to see. Appreciate you, Canoeman. Canoeman from the, I don't want to get too specific, but he's probably from the Tennessee area, somewhere in the large state of Tennessee. Who knows? Mobile Alum says, got my bunker glass ready. Missed you, dude. Let's freaking go. I guess, did you? I say I'm out of it. I don't know if you got one from last season or if you got one of the new ones that Chip Chip put out. Either way, we know you're a legend. Mayor Mix-a-Lot, who we had a chance to meet at the Montgomery Bunker Bourbon outing in December. Stud. ADAG Appreciation Fund. You can take that a couple different ways, right? I appreciate that he's gone, or I appreciate the work that he did or didn't do. I don't know. A lot of ways you can go with that. Mayor is usually a pretty positive person, though. We got Blake D back in the house, who's one of our favorites during the games. Glad to see you back, brother. Ravine says, Maddie's already a junior. Wow, where does the time go, right? I mean, it feels like she was kind of deciding colleges not too long ago, and now she's like a ranking member in her sorority in college. It's crazy. All right, so we got that set up there, and we are caught up now on the chatting. Lots of legends in the house tonight, and we have a lot to discuss. Let me go to the main page here. There we are on the Drain, and I am hopeful, very hopeful, that our chat populates here in the middle. That's one thing I can't. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's something that I can't test when we're not live. So I just kind of have to set it up and be like, I know it's going to work. And it did. Thank goodness. Look at here. Fat Crack jumping in with a super chat. We got to have a sound for that. Actually, I came up with a few different sounds. I'll play for you guys here in a minute. He says, the Ram is back on Warzone. Yeah, that's a type of gun there. JGT is back with the drain. Today is going to be a great day. War Eagle JGT. Appreciate you, bro. Let me give you an applause for that one. What a stud. Fat Crack's a good Warzone player, and it's a pleasure always playing alongside of him. He communicates well, and usually the guys that he hooks up with, like the guys in our group that he knows, are always good players too. So, and he cuts his less than I do too, which is good. T-Roy Tiger, who I had the chance to meet last weekend in very much a drunken state at the Troy event. I was down there with some of my friends at the Drawdown, having a great time. Had a chance to meet T-Roy Tiger and his gorgeous wife. Wow, he did really, really good. I'm sorry I'm saying that live on the show, but I'm telling you the truth, bro. Yeah, I mean, you know, but I mean, because you're married to her. He says, going to be a fantastic drain season, if nothing else, brother. Yes, we got things to talk about, right? Alan Greene already out. Head coach could be next in time. I don't know. We know that everybody in the country knows that he's under the gun, right? And he's going to have to perform at a very high level, I think, to avoid getting swept out the door within the next 3 months, 2 months, 5 months. The issues that surrounded him, in February when all of that, when the inquest was going on and all that kind of dramatic stuff, it's still there. And the people that are skeptical of him are still skeptical. And if anything has changed, Alan Greene being gone means that Harson has lost his only official defender. That's, we can argue all day about, hey, does Alan Greene really matter? I mean, I know he's essentially stepping down now, but I mean, 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, does Alan Greene's opinion really matter? If Alan Greene says, hey, man, I'll do everything I can to keep Harson, and Harson's the right coach for here, is anybody listening, like, for real? Does anybody actually care? I don't know. I think it's debatable. And I don't say that to be mean or disrespectful to Alan Greene. I'm just trying to be realistic about what's going on. You know what I mean? Blake D says, you guys are all my favorite. That is so nice. Sam H says the setup looks great. Yes, I got a sign. Oh, wrong side. There we go. I got a sign here in South Carolina, and then I got the peace symbol thing, and I think the Bucky's squirrel, as Stultz would call it, I think that might be kind of new. I don't remember. And the Wednesday show, that's Wednesday Addams up there in Pugsley, two of my all-time favorites. The show's going to be on Netflix soon, so that's going to be awesome. I'm really fired up about that. Matthew M. says, JG, I'm so glad Maddie is doing well. I miss seeing her every day. Of course, Mr. Monson, legendary educator in the city of Montgomery, and played a central role in my daughter's secondary education. So we appreciate you, sir. Also a bunker member and just a legend in general. She is doing good, real good. She's got hooked up with some cool friends, and I love her sorority and all the girls that I've met that she hangs out with there. She's just having the time of her life, honestly. AU Taxman says, I hate knowing that the pitchforks will be out if we aren't undefeated going into UGA. I'll note that you hate it, but that's definitely going to be the truth. Even the slightest misstep is going to be amplified to the point that it's going to be insane. It's going to be insanity. It really is. It's going to be a really bumpy ride all year long. And I was talking about this on the bunker. I said, some of you guys are going to have to harden the F up because it's going to get bumpy and you're going to have to chill out just a little bit. I know there's people out there, the jackals, that they have saliva off their teeth already and they're ready to bite. But let's just, you know what I mean? Let's calmly go into it, as calm as we can. Calm as we can. And we'll see what happens. Mobile Alum jumps in with a super chat. One of our all-time favorites from L.A., Lower Alabama. Says, I got my glass at the live drain in L.A. in February. Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot that. I was drinking a little bit. You remember many believe the best drain ever. I would certainly vote for that. We had a chance to meet, tons of fun. I don't think he's on the board, but he's one of Locked On's friends who's an absolute stud. And, of course, J-Head was there, the legend himself. And So was Mobile alum, among others. Canoeman came down for that one. I don't think, was Pocket there? Pocket was there. Yeah, Pocket was definitely there. Brian Matthews checks in to say he's ready to roll, so maybe we'll get over with him pretty soon. I do want to kind of dig into some topical stuff here before we get BMAT on the hone. Let's see. T-Roy Tiger says, how's it going, partner? I hope the fam is well. Oh, I didn't know you knew him. That's badass. I love seeing you guys kind of chat among yourselves because, you guys, a lot of y'all just spent so much time on the show as we went through last year and as we went through the pandemic. It's good to see that you guys kind of get to know each other a little bit. I'll be Laker in the house as well. Can I play quarterback and save this season? Damn it. Oh, boy. I'll be Laker, yes. Depends on how accurate you are. They had an open practice today, and I did not go myself, but the reports that I got were that inaccuracy was once again a major issue, and that's just something that I was blown away when I was at the practice last weekend, if you want to call it a practice, whatever, and to see the threesome of Finley, Robbie Ashford, and Calzada, they're rotating one throw each, 7 or 8 yards away, missed 11 throws in a row to go into that little Tom Brady drill, where you throw it into the little hole. 11 in a row, guys. I mean, I'm not trying to rag because I probably couldn't do it either, but you expect the quarterbacks at a big-time school like Auburn to be able to hit that, have that kind of accuracy anyway. Corey Dubb in the house, one of our all-time favorites from the Montgomery area, and a man who knows his music. Corey and I text year-round interesting songs that come up usually on Spotify. I think, well, for me, it's Spotify. I think it's Spotify for him, too. Or it might be Apple Music. I don't know. Actually, he sent me one the other day that was Foreigner. I Want to Know What Love Is, which is kind of an underrated gem, right? Unfortunately, it was popular there at the end of 84, early 85, at a time when I was striking out with the gals, and so I was kind of bumming at that point. But anyway, Locked On says, can we call and talk to Doc? I mean, I think we can. We can. I need to get up with him. Corey Dubb, thanks for the super chat, brother, and I appreciate your friendship. Let's see. Fat Crack asks, JGT with ADG leaving, how many games does Harson have to win now? Great question. A lot. I would say 8. I just don't know. That's why I said we just got to go in calmly and just one foot in front of the other. We'll just work our way through. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. The situation in Auburn right now is so unstable in so many ways. Like, you've got a new president, and I think that guy's a badass. I think Dr. Roberts is a badass, but he's kind of, learning, not from an engineering perspective, but from a controlling the entire university and then athletics, of course, as well. He's kind of new to it. You got no AD. Your football coach is in peril. The recruiting situation's not good. And if you're being honest, the roster next year looks really not good. Now, I mean, you can go and you can get work done in the transfer portal. That's the new thing now. Everybody's doing it. That's doable, but you're putting a lot of pressure on Auburn to go get a bunch of dudes out of the transfer portal, good players out of the transfer portal, and it's just like, I don't know, man. Rebel Grizz jumps in, says, good evening, JG, from Nell and Chance the Yappers, minions. Chance the Yapper. Hey, guys, what's going on? Happy for you guys. So happy for y'all when Ole Miss won that natty in baseball. Just crazy how that thing unfolded, isn't it? Just absolutely stoked out of my mind. I was in Punta Cana when that was going on, and we were drunk every night cheering for the Rebs. I like Ole Miss a lot. I don't think any Auburn fans here would have a problem with that, or most wouldn't. I mean, I feel like Auburn and Ole Miss are not hated enemies, and I think we all respect. I mean, I think Auburn tailgating is really, really good, but I mean, I think we all respect what the Grove is and what's in the Grove. It looks like Leif is around. Canoeman, I see, is calling him out, but I did not see him post. There he is. My man, Leif. I'm stoked, man. You know when Leif's here, it's big. Says, what's up, y'all? Just got off work and ready to drain. Damn, I only had 2 kids the last time there was a drain. That's right. Leif and his wife had another one here just very recently. That's huge. All right. Leif, love you, man. So glad to see you here. Connor AU in the house as well. 9-3 minimum is what he's thinking to keep the coach safe. I mean, yeah. But, I mean, honestly, if we're looking at the schedule, I mean, do you see 9-3? I mean, you got to feel like at Georgia's a loss. I mean, almost certainly, right? You got to feel like at Alabama's a loss, almost certainly. And I'm not saying that the other games aren't winnable. They all are. And even those two are winnable in some way. But I think we're headed for a season like 2008. That's, to me, the one that sticks out the most, where you've got, and potentially 98, where the offense is just not clicking. And the defense is good. You know, both in 98 and 08, they had good defense. Offense sputtered, and it just kept sputtering. And then at some point, the defense gets, just weakened because they know, you're only going to give them 7 points or whatever, and it just wears on them. Those of you who are my age or older, you guys know what I'm talking about. You've seen teams like that, and when you have a team that's balanced, that's when great things happen. And when you have a team that's just totally out of whack like that, things get ugly. And I just don't know that I trust this offense at all right now. Partly because Nick Brahms is out, partly because the quarterback situation to me is still unresolved, even if they have decided it's going to be TJ. And you're relying on so many young wide receivers to be world beaters, and you're putting so much pressure on Tank. And I think Tank's a terrific football player. I think we all agree with that. But at this point, it can't just be one guy. And I mean, Jarquez is good too. What I mean is you can't have great tailback play without great line play, or at least good line play. And I don't see it, guys. I don't see it right now. So let's just be real about it. El Tigre Esquire says Pete Thamel already has his hit pieces ready for when Harson is gone. I tell you what, man, I'm like Pac-Man with those. I just gobble them up, and I love them. I love reading this stuff because it's just so trite. Like, it's like, Auburn's a mess. It's just like the freaking Larry Guest column from 1998 that got everything started, that he ran in the Orlando paper in 1998, talking about Bobby Louder and all that stuff, and the backdoor backstabbing that was going on at Auburn. When I read that the first time, and I was a young reporter at the time, I was like, wow, this is so crazy. Oh, my God. And now that I've been embedded in it for 25 years, and a lot of you guys have been around that long or longer, it doesn't even matter anymore. I just gobble that stuff up and just move on. If Harson gets fired in the middle of the season, there'll be people who write columns and say it's an absolute outrage and it's disrespectful and Auburn's a mess, and it's just, hey, guys, I don't see it that way. You win. You win and you produce. These guys are getting paid a lot of money. You got to win and you got to produce, period. Hey, I got to produce at auburnsports.com. Corey's got to produce at his job. AU Taxman's got to produce. And if they're not producing, they're going to get in trouble. It's that simple. I'm not trying to get on Harson. I don't really have an opinion on this. I'm not like, fire Harson. I'm nothing like that. I react. I'm not that guy. But if he's not getting it done, he's not getting it done. And there comes a point where you just get so far behind, you say, we got to do something else. Uncle says he just wants the wide receivers to catch the ball. I think they're going to do a better job with that this year, I think. Sterling asks a great question. What is in the glass tonight? Auburn Athletics. Well, guess what, buddy? I have a pain just for that. Tonight I will be drinking this Journeyman Silver Cross whiskey. I'm starting off kind of light. I spent the whole summer gathering bourbon for this show, and tonight we're going to start with a very basic one. Well, not basic, but this is not a heralded thing. So this is from Michigan. We had the Journeyman Featherstone, I think it was, and I think Leif at least told me it was pretty good. If he didn't just send it to me, I can't remember. For some reason, I got Leif in my mind about Journeyman. But anyway, from Michigan, this is not a bourbon, so this is a 2-year age. But check this out, AU Taxman. They age this in 5-gallon barrels. So the typical bourbon is in a 53-gallon barrel. Big old thing, right? They decided they're going to try this in 5-gallon barrels. And the thought is, in a 5-gallon barrel, when you put the juice in there, what percentage of the juice is actually near the wall of the barrel? Well, in a 5-gallon barrel, it's a high percentage compared to the amount of juice that's near a wall in a 53-gallon barrel. So the idea is it ages more quickly. And I gotta tell you, man, it works for me. Like, this actually works for me. I mean, normally I would never even think about drinking a 2-year. Like 2 years. Like what? My minimum would be like 4, which is what Blade and Bow is, the regular Blade and Bow. Anyway, Journeyman Silver Cross, 2-year-old whiskey, and I'm telling you, I love this stuff. I just happened upon it at ABC this summer. They had a barrel pick, so this is 100 and whatever it was, 118 proof, 119 proof. I'm telling you, it's the oiliest bourbon you'll ever drink. It's like super thick. I mean, it just has like that. It's just really thick and oily. I love it. I really, really like this stuff. I actually bought 3 bottles of it when it came out and gave one to my man J-Dub, and I'm keeping the other one. So there you go. Ravine says, how do you feel about the low corn in the mash bill? Yeah, it is low corn. Again, this is not a bourbon. This is definitely an unusual. I need to put a little bit of water in that. God dang. Been watering stuff down a little bit lately. I don't feel like I got it. Remember when I drank that Stag Junior on the air, like for the Ole Miss game a couple years ago? Dude, I was trashed. Shit was like 135 proof. I'm a lot more careful with my proving now. Anyway, Ravine, it's an interesting taste. I would recommend if y'all have a chance to taste it, I would give it a shot. I don't know. It's not going to be. This is not an ubiquitous bourbon at all. It just happened to kind of pop into ABC, and I hit it a little bit. But I do like it. That will be what I'm drinking tonight. Mobile Alum jumps in again. The legend. If Harson is let go, do the powers that be really think that they can go out and get some superstar coach? Nobody like that is going to come to this shit show. Can I give a laugh to that? That's pretty funny. Yeah, that's a whole other thing we need to talk about, really, right? I think this whole thing with like this specter of the powers that be, like this Kaiser Soze thing, like it's overrated. It's definitely overrated. And like I hear so many people will tell me. I remember I was in Punta Cana talking to some Auburn fans, and they were doing the whole Jimmy Rain thing. You guys hear this? Jimmy Rain this, Jimmy Rain that. Look, if Jimmy Rain had as much power as people think he does, Alan Greene would have never gotten hired. Brian Harson would have never gotten hired. Ever. There's no circumstance where he would have been cool with that. So if he's this omnipotent dude who's in control of everything, that wouldn't happen. In fact, I'm going to tell you something right now that's going to blow somebody's mind. I think they need more alpha in the Auburn sphere, not less. If there was a benevolent Bobby Louder out there, you know what I mean? That would be great. The way that Mr. Louder was in the 80s and 90s. 2000. He's still around, but Blake says there's no way I was striking out with the gals. Believe me, dude. I know it's been a minute, but yeah, they're in 84, man. I had just switched schools. I'd come from public school to private school, and I think there was a stigma. And I don't think they understood the frosted tips thing. It took a little while. You have to kind of work your way in. Tons of fun. My man is in the house. Look at him. He's here. I shouted you out a little while ago, Tons. We met him at the February, showdown in Mobile. Pocket Watch says, Commodore, I keep waiting for you to call into the Groves post-game call-in. Can I do that? Like, if I'm on here with y'all, then I can't be on there with them, right? I have called in before, though. I remember you guys pushed me to do it. I would do it for sure. I would do it for sure. Let's see. Chip says, I sprung for the cask strength single barrel. Seems like a win. What are y'all talking about? Sounds good. AU Taxman says, if we can, Harson, after 2 years, will look like an absolute clown show, which we are. And it's hard for me to think we'll make a decent hire. Oh, okay. I don't know. Where are we going to get this going, man? Leif, I was thinking about that too. Leif says Benevolent Bobby Louder will be a great message board name. You're right. I think it would be. I'm not trying to say that Bobby Louder is not himself benevolent. I'm just saying, assuring ourselves that this Bobby Louder figure would be benevolent. You know what I mean? William Stovall in the house says, JG, about time we're back. Football is finally here. War Damn Eagle. It's a great time of year, isn't it? There's football on TV, although I'm not watching it. And the last sporting event I watched was a horse race, the Travers Stakes today. I picked that one well. Of course, there's no money to be made when the winner goes off at 1-1. But Epicenter is definitely the class of the 3-year-old crop right now, and I think he'll I definitely would expect him to win the Breeders' Cup Classic, for what it's worth. Decatur Tiger 97, who was fired up in the bunker about having a show tonight, says, I think 8-4 with a 9th win in a bowl game keeps Harson for a year. I think that would do it. I mean, 9 wins. I mean, even with the political strife, I still think that would be okay, because bottom line is you got to win games, and that would be winning. But I think it's tough, man. I just don't know, man. I think this team is going to be unbalanced. Leif B asked who won the Dublin game. That would be Northwestern beat Nebraska. And now those Nebraska fans that are not sure how to feel about Scott Frost, man, they're just getting a little bent, man. Getting a little bent. Let's see. Richard M. says, if it wasn't for Locked On, his wife Megan, and JG Tate, I wouldn't stay caught up. Thank y'all. Wardam, #Mobile. I don't know who you are, but I like you. Because Locked On and his wife are awesome. I spent a lot of time talking to Locked On in my life. Let's see what else we got. Blake D says, Jay is a top producer. I don't know what that means, but I would like to think that I am. Although I've been basically in retirement for 6 months, but you know what I'm talking about. Sam H says, I hear Nebraska job might open up around December. Yeah.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Maybe their hires are going to continue to be shitty. I can't believe that Scott Frost sucks, though. I can't believe he sucks as bad as he does. I mean, he was good at UCF. Decatur Tigers ragging on Scott Frost for throwing his offensive coordinator on a bus. My goodness, he did that today, did he not? CDF jumps in again, who had a huge super chat to open the game. And we love you, CDS. Says, I really like Haskins. He shat all his potential equity down his leg last year. Mississippi State, South Carolina, Updike U, and a pathetic showing against Texas A&M and UGA. Yeah, I mean, yeah. The Mississippi State game was, in particular, very poorly managed in a lot of different facets. That's the big reason why Derek Mason's not here. South Carolina was just, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about that one. Auburn just wasn't ready to win that game. Updike U is, to me, I just thought it was just kind of like shitty luck in a way. But, I had a conversation with a couple guys maybe a month ago about that game, and I changed my opinion on it. They changed my opinion on it. I think Harson got outfoxed pretty bad in that one. They got outmanaged. And then A&M and Georgia are just flat. So, yeah. Oh, look at this. Somebody wants to try to talk some shit at me right here. Oh, Mobile Alum with another super chat, by the way. She's not talking shit at me at all. Thank you for your support tonight, young lady. She says, we all have to produce, but he's been severely handicapped, and he'll get all the blame for the lack of results. I'd be curious to see. I mean, I know what you mean by severely handicapped in that, the whole recruiting is affected by the Inquisition and all that stuff. There's no doubt about it, but I think there's stuff that he could have done or could be doing to help his situation that he's not doing, and I don't understand why he's not. Somebody was trying to check me on my E.H. Taylor. Who is it? Who done that? My man Sammy's in the house. Sammy is in the house, my man. I know you watched that race today. He says, when Uncle Jay called into the Grove with his Gus impersonation, I'm positive that Chance the Yapper thought it was Gus. Go, Epicenter. Did you hear on the show that I did with him a couple weeks ago, Sammy, where I said I read something on OxfordRumors.com and Neil was like typing it up and was like, hey, it didn't come up for me. I was like, did you really look that up? I just made it up. That was really funny. Go Epicenter. That's right. Epicenter won the Travers today. Fired up about that, and he absolutely killed in that game, in that race. He was so far ahead. Yeah, I want to know who was it. War Eagle JF says, JG, did you get to meet Aubie today? My buddy got a great picture of his daughter with him. No, I was not there today. We were supposed to be doing interviews today, and then it was canceled like 3 hours before it started, and I said, I'm not going up there just to watch practice when we got BMAT and Stultz, two accomplished journalists to go. No, I'm not going to do that. So I just kind of hung back. So no, I didn't meet Aubie today. Chris W says, stop fronting. We all know that EHT canister is empty. Well, let's find out. I don't know, guys. What do you think? It seems pretty heavy to me. Oh, my gosh. There's a bottle in here. know. Chris. Does that look empty to you? Huh? That's what I thought. Get some. That's what I thought.
Finish him. Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
That's what I thought. All right, Mobile alum jumps in. Great question. I had a feeling you're going to follow that up. What could or should he be doing? She asked earlier about he's been handicapped, and I said there's some things that I think Harson could or should be doing. He's done a better job this year since the Inquisition of reaching out to you guys, like via social media. They've had some really cool, like the Top Gun thing that they did on social media. I thought that stuff was brilliant. He's got personality to him. I had a chance to sit down with him at a Rivals camp in Atlanta back in May, and I spent about 30 minutes just talking to him on the sideline, just me and him. Really interesting dude, bright person, and can be funny. Like, he's got it. But he just got shit on so bad. So he's done a great job of reaching out to you guys. I feel like when I see him in like on the Tiger Trek, I call it the Tiger Trek, whatever that stuff is, when he goes out in April and May and kind of meets with the folks like in Birmingham, Mobile, et cetera, et cetera. He does a good job, or a better job now, of kind of interacting with people and not seeming so aloof. He's been great on social media. He had the thing today where he posted the screenshot of them saying like Harson's tenure at Nebraska, whatever. And he thought, I mean, that's funny. He's funny like that. But does he do enough to kind of reach out to the people that matter, the influential people, the big money people? Does he do that? The answer is no. He doesn't know who he can trust, and so he doesn't trust anybody. So on one hand, I don't blame him, because I am someone who is not a great truster myself, and so if I was in his situation, I would not be trusting people. I get it, but there is no way to win in the situation he's in without trusting people. There's no way to win. It's an absolutely, you're assured destruction. It's assured. You cannot win like that. You can win this game or that game. You can start 5-0, but you cannot secure long-term security at Auburn and be successful at Auburn long-term in that state. You can't do it. You can't do it. You've got to reach out and you've got to play nice with the influential people, and he's not doing that. You guys understand why he's not doing that. He's a strong-minded individual who's like, if they're going to try to cut my back, I'm never going to play nice with them. And it's like he's justified with that, but you can't win like that. So that's how I feel about it. Now, if I could see Mobile alum, you may look at this and say, hey, he's not doing anything wrong. I think that's a reasonable position. It's not my position, because you can't win like this. Cody R says, Auburn wins 10 games. Take it to Vegas, baby. If they don't win 10, JG, I'll buy you a nice bottle of bourbon. Legit bet. Cody R, my man. All right, let's do it. I don't really want to bet against you, though, because that's weird. Like JG's betting that Auburn's going to lose. I don't want to do that. But as it stands, I'll take that, Cody. I hope to see you again. I don't think they're going to win 10, brother. Something's going to have to happen with the quarterbacks that I don't know. Something crazy is going to have to go down on that. Decatur Tiger says, JG, have you thought about doing a podcast or YouTube video clipping all the Stultzy WTF moments, including the condom joke he made? What's funny is that I actually edit out some of the really crazy shit he says. If I'm hanging out with Stultzy like on a regular Tuesday, like we're not doing a show or anything, he's pretty normal. He's normal, but he loves kind of trumping it up for you guys, and I do think he's damn entertaining. I have not thought about doing a podcast of that because I think it would be taken off the air. It would be flagged as inappropriate content, I believe. Sam H., who's with us all the time. We love Sam H. Every game, every show, always here, particularly during the pandemic. Season predictions, JG, are just a quality breakdown. We're going to get to that for sure. So, yeah, I'll just break it down here real quick. Mercer's a dub. San Jose State, I think, is a win, but it's going to be tougher than a lot of you guys realize. Penn State is a win, a narrow win. Missouri, I have this sneaky suspicion they're going to lose to Missouri, but I need to see a little bit of Missouri first. My friend Gabe is not super high on Missouri, and he knows a lot more about them than I do. But I'm also not super high on this Auburn team, and And then LSU, I just have no idea what to expect from them right now. I mean, they have players, but I'm not a Brian Kelly believer, and I think that that's just a weird relationship. Like Brian Kelly going down to the Bayou and all that fakey bullshit he was doing, it just seems forced and weird, and stuff like that doesn't usually work out. So I need to see what happens. But I could see them coming out of that 3-2 or 4-1 very easily. Georgia's an L. I mean, at Ole Miss, if Ole Miss is anything like what I'm expecting them to be, and I know they're changing quarterbacks, and Matt Corral was an absolute stud, but I have a lot of respect for Lane Kiffin, particularly as a play caller and an offensive strategist. I got to believe he's going to damage Auburn's defense, and, do you trust Auburn's offense anywhere? At that point, we're going to know a lot more about if we can trust them or not. Arkansas, I don't know. I mean, I would probably call that an L. Just riffing here. At Mississippi State, that's probably a dub. Texas A&M, you guys know how I feel about Jimbo. I don't trust him at all. I don't trust him to do anything with the team he has. I still think that's a loss for Auburn. They beat Western Kentucky and they lose at Alabama. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just kind of riffing here, but 5 or 6 losses is what I'm saying. Warwick is in the house. Says Gangsta's what up. Warwick is actually, his handle on here is Warwick space underline. Joshua G says D. Davis quarterback era about to start on ESPN. He is now a member of the Hornets, the Alabama State Hornets, the first non-Kentucky college team I ever covered. True story. I opened the 98 season covering Alabama State for the Montgomery Advertiser. I finished the 98 season covering Auburn. And it was very, very bumpy. Harbin478 says, hey, JG from Rebel Groves. We love you guys. Hope you guys are doing good over there. Celebrating your national title in baseball. That is well-deserved. And fired up to see what Lane is going to do this season. Eric is teasing me here. I hope he's not teasing me. He says, FAMU is going to beat Chiz and UNC. Are we into the game here? You guys can see there, the Brain Drain is presented by Ranked College Football. It's an app that I have been using for years. And we're going to partner with the genius behind that app, whose name is Jake. We're going to pair with him all year, partner with him all year. I am pulling up my Ranked app right now to see what's going on. I've got Florida State, Duquesne. Looks like the Seminoles are going to get that one. FAU's up on Charlotte at the halftime. We're only in the first quarter, but it is 7-7 UNC and Florida A&M. Interesting. Yes. You guys need to have this Ranked app. I've been using it for years. The great thing about that app for me, it's got the networks. It's got the time for every game, the network for every game, and it's also got the line for every game. So like when me and Neil are doing our show, that's such an easy way to get all the stuff together. I had a big, long conversation with Jake earlier in the summer where he was kind of explaining his vision for all the things that he's done with that app. And I've been following it just as a regular consumer for a number of years now. The things that he's working on, the things that he's added to the app, and it's insane. So I would strongly encourage you guys, whether you're on Android or on the iPhone, to get on that Ranked app and make that your stop for college football stuff. Because he's got all kinds of stuff on there. He's got I'm trying to think of what the letters are. It's basically like a general strength of the team, like an ELO number, ELOTA number, or something like that. ELO, I forgot what it was. But he's kind of got all the teams ranked, not 1 through 25, but like their skill level. It's pretty cool. It reminds me of like the stuff you see in FIFA. It made sense to me anyway. So check out that app for sure, and we're a big fan of that. Daniel P. jumps in. Hello there, Jay and Drainers. That is, I bet that's Metal Fan right there. I bet that's who that is. Glad to have you, brother. What an absolute stud. Thank you for the super chat. We're glad to have you here. Chris says, glad the EHT is full. My favorite. It was not full, but it was like 3/4 full. And Chris H. says, roasted Chris Williams. Got him. Josh D asking how many games I think Auburn will win. We went through that just a minute ago. I know you probably a few minutes late now. I'm getting to you a few minutes late. You were right on time when you made the comment. But I think it's 6 or 7, something like that. What else we got? We got a lot more to talk about here. Mobile alum jumping in again. A follow-up to the follow-up. I hope so. So if he's gone, who can we legitimately get that would be embraced by all? There's no one who would be embraced by all. There's nobody. There's no one. There's no person. Remember, a coach has to want to come here. Every time I think about that, first of all, thank you very much for that, Mobile alum. You're a legend. Every time I think about how difficult I think this job is, right? Because you're kind of in a weird recruiting area. You've got Alabama breathing down your neck. You've got Georgia breathing down your neck. You got Florida breathing down your neck. LSU gets up here. Clemson's been having a lot of success in the state with Hunter and some other dudes, Justin Ross a few years ago. You just don't ever get like a settled area, But every time I find myself going down that road, here's what I think about. 10 years ago, I was convinced, and I think a lot of you guys were as well, that Auburn basketball was going to suck balls forever. And Auburn basketball does not suck balls now. Auburn is absolutely just dropping on people, kneeing people in the head, metaphorically, all the time, including Kentucky. Because Bruce Pearl was the right guy to come in here, and he did not care. He wasn't looking for excuses. He wasn't looking to cash a check. He was looking to win basketball games and to get a program revived, okay? And he got it done because he's a stud, and he got it done. And he has a great staff, by the way. Really, really good staff. And he pays them, and he keeps them, and that's a big part of the story, too. If he can do that with Auburn basketball, it doesn't even take a Bruce Pearl to do it with Auburn football because Auburn's good. Like, not at the moment, but it's not like Auburn is flawed in some way. It's not. There's a huge base of alums. They're rabid about football. They've got a state-of-the-art football complex about to open. The stadium's so-so, but kids don't really care about that. I mean, they care about it being big and people being there. But, the fact that Jordan Hare is kind of a dump, like, I don't think the kids care about that. They're going in the recruiting lounge, and it's plush in there. It's really, really nice. The locker room's awesome. Auburn can win, and Auburn can win big quickly. It's just got to have the right person in here. And I honestly, you want to talk about who can legitimately come in here or whatever. I don't know the answer to that right now. We're so far off. I don't like doing that with Harson, firmly entrenched right now. It's kind of weird, but it can be done. And I don't think you have to get somebody insane. You don't have to get like Jeff Fisher. Yeah, I'm being just, you don't have to get Sean McVay. You don't have to get Bill Belichick. I think Auburn is not as bad as people realize. Auburn, the team's not great, but the situation here is not bad. Auburn's not broke. Auburn has, again, the football stadium's not great, but the football-only facility is going to be absolutely badass. They've got support. It's a big-ass school. It's a really nice school. It's growing like a weed over there. I mean, when I got here in the 90s, man, Auburn was a kind of an ugly school. And I know this because I came from a very ugly school. UK is hideous. It's better now, but Auburn was only a little bit better than Kentucky at the time, just to look at it. Auburn's beautiful now. So much money and effort has gone into making this campus better. Auburn's a great place to just take a kid and say, I just want to walk you through this campus. It's really nice. Compared to the other SEC schools, it's really nice. There's really not a lot of excuses. You just got to get somebody in here that's going to get it done, period. Richard M. is in the house with a super chat. Thank you very much for your support, sir. Glad to have you here, hanging out with us tonight on the Brain Drain on this week 0? I'm not big on the week 0. Anyway, Richard, thank you for being with us, bro, and for supporting the stream. Let's see. Chip says, Denton update. Did he prove his worth or enter the portal? I'm not expecting to have Dentona on the show this year. He still lives across the street, but he's been working full-time at an undisclosed location in the greater Montgomery area, and he's been doing a hell of a job. And so he works nights too a lot of times, so he's just not really going to be available. I do think we're going to get J-Dub with us as often as we can. He is a father of 3, although one is at college now. He's a father of 2 at home, and also his incredible wife Bridget. So we'll hopefully we'll get him at least once a month I'm hoping to get him twice a month, and then we'll figure out what we do after that. But I don't think Denton's going to be part of it. Let's see. Richard M. says Auburn will be 10-2 to end the regular season. Am I drunk or not? I don't see that myself, but, I mean, it's possible. I don't want to sit here and say it's not going to happen, but I just got so many questions, Richard, about the offense, about the quarterback, about the center, about who's going to block for these tailbacks. And yeah, if the wide receivers are going to be better, I do think they're going to be better. I think Coy Moore is a really good player. I think Malcolm Johnson has transformed himself. They have players. But you got to get the ball to them. And at this point, they can't throw a 7-yard pass into a hole, into a catch basin yet. Eric O says, can we get an Auburn basketball way too early prediction? I do. I worked up, Eric, a depth chart for basketball. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. I'm still kind of riffing on football. But I like where your head's at. I do. And I think this basketball team is going to be really good. Better. Listen, man, when they first started practicing for Israel, I don't know, man. I was kind of like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I didn't think Auburn was going to be bad basketball, but I was like, I don't know. But then I had a chance to see Westry, Henry, our outstanding intern, who's just absolutely obsessed with basketball. He had a chance to see Westry and Yohan. Those kids are good. And Janai Broom, as we saw in the Israel games, he ain't a fluke. That dude can play ball. He's not Jabari, but he's going to be a really good player. And you know what? If you can get something out of KD and you can get Wen to take maybe one step forward and you get Al back to where he was a couple years ago, not even better than what he was 2 years ago, just what he was 2 years ago, you got a team now. And that's assuming that that Red is better. He looked better to me in general in Israel. I'd like to see him take another step forward, but we'll see. Eric O says, will Kentucky be as good as predicted? Yeah, I think Kentucky's really, really good. I think they're going to probably be better than Auburn this year. That doesn't mean they're going to beat Auburn, but I think they're going to be a better ball club than Auburn this year. I do. I think Kentucky's loaded. I think this is the response for Calipari to all the mediocrity he's been putting out there lately, because Auburn's been running his ass, man. And, I mean, other people have too. But I think they're getting really rustled that Auburn's kicking their ass so much, and he's been hearing a lot about it. He put together a hell of a team here. Pocket Watch says, we can pay enough to make anyone want to come to Auburn. My concern is we will focus on an Auburn person instead of rating the ACC, Pac-10, Big 12. Fair concern. That is a fair concern. I mean, it always comes back to Auburn. But I think the AD search is going to go that direction. I don't necessarily think the coaching search is going to go that direction, because I don't think there's enough Auburn people out there. In fact, there's not many at all. So they just got to make a good hire. But they better vet him first, because I think that Harson got a little fast-tracked. Dazd8833 says Harson is not going anywhere. All right.
Yeah, on Monday, I won't make it on Monday because I got someone calls on Monday.
I don't know what happened there. Christelle is in the house. Crystal's in the house, who's with us during the football games. Yes. Hey, Wall, War Eagle. I have missed the hell out of you guys. We have missed you, Crystal. Hope you had a great off season. We're going to be going, every Saturday now until October. It's October 22nd, I should say. But, we'll be doing it. Hayden is in the house as well. JG Tate, I'm back and ready for the season, my man. Time to put up or shut up. I love the toughness, man. Keyboard warriors. But I know you're a tough guy individually anyway. Decatur Tiger says Beetlejuice soundbite, LMAFO. I love Beat, man. It's my favorite guest on the Stern Show for sure. We haven't heard much from him lately, but he's an absolute stud. Jake G says, thanks, Taxman. If y'all have any feedback, please let me know. Jake G, of course, is the man behind Ranked, the college football app that I was pushing earlier and that I've been using for years. And they are partnering with us all season long on the Brain Drain, and it's such an easy thing for me because it's an app that I have used a long time, and I've watched him, because when I first got it, when he first put it out, it was kind of not glitchy, it was just slow, and now it's just smooth as butter on my iPhone. By the way, Jake is an Auburn graduate. We met, he came up to the Huntsville Bourbon Fest and met some guys that were in his fraternity that I don't think he knew were on the board. So that was kind of cool, too. And he's noting here that he's AULAX08, which really isn't a big surprise because he's got the Ranked logo, I think, at the bottom of his posts. But, yeah, that's him. This app that we're talking about here right now on the Brain Drain was developed by Jake. There's not a group of people. It's Jake did this, and which is pretty amazing in and of itself. So one of our own from the bunker is behind this, and I would strongly encourage everybody on the site, and even if you're not on the site, to get it, because it's got all the information you're going to want to keep you updated to college football. I mean, seriously, I'm not bullshitting you. Records, times, TV stations, et cetera, et cetera. Dazd says, my worry is when Harson starts winning, he will stay. Or will he stay? If he has an opportunity to go somewhere else, I mean, I got to believe he would go. I mean, he hasn't ever said that to me, but he doesn't like the situation either. He's not stoked about the situation he's in. I mean, he might be stoked about this team and the players. I mean, because you can tell, man, the guys like him a lot. I mean, he's a popular coach in the locker room. Very popular. I mean, I think these players, by and large, feel like he's the right guy. I think he's a really good football coach. Honestly, I really do. There's just a little bit more to it now. You know, if this was 25 years ago, I think he'd be fine. Warwick says, my wifey just figured out what I was doing. I guess he was side-eyeing the show and said, what the hell, really? While we're at dinner? It happens. All right, I've said a bunch of times that there's things that I've got to talk with you guys about. Something I definitely want to get. Let me go to the headlines here real quick. I already put that together real quick. Look at this. And right as I do it, Albie Laker comes in. What an absolute stud this guy is. Thank you, Albie Laker, for supporting the stream and for always kicking ass and being cool. D. Lucky says, culture vulture separatist, the irony. I'm not going to get involved in that. Okay, so Alan Greene is out as athletic director. That was noted on Friday, midday Friday. Kind of a mutual parting of ways. And I do think it was mutual in the sense that Alan was kind of on a month-to-month deal. He was hoping to get a extension, and it didn't come. And essentially he was a lame duck. But, yeah, it's a big deal. I think they're going to have to get hustling to find another athletic director. I mean, you don't have to get him tomorrow, but I think that you've got to have a new athletic director in place. If you hire a football coach, you've got to have an athletic director in place. You can fire without an athletic director, but you've got to hire with one, and that probably means you need to go ahead and get one now. And I think they're going to be looking. They're going to try to look at some guys that have Auburn ties. I do think that, and I also think they're going to be pushing for somebody who has a business background. I don't think they're going to be looking for people who are career athletics administrators, which I don't necessarily agree with, but because for me it's about the person, it's not necessarily about their background. But I'm not making the calls on that, as you guys know. I'm a content creator. Okay. Anyway, Alan Greene being out is a big deal. We'll see what happens. If we're talking about people that can get that job, I mean, the first names that came up were Tim Jackson and Rich McGlynn. Tim Jackson, of course, is a head honcho over at Tigers Unlimited, which we'll talk about later. And then Rich is the compliance guy, but he's really more than that. He's kind of like a deputy athletic director, big time. I don't think either one of them is going to get this job. I mean, I'd like to see one of them get it just because I know both guys and I know they care. That's a big part of it. I really like Rich too. I mean, I would consider him a friend of mine, but I just don't. I just think those guys have enemies, whether it's deserved or not, that are going to prevent them from getting this job. So when you get past that, you start looking at some other guys with Auburn ties, gals too. I liked Michelle, whose last name escapes me. I bet you guys know who I'm talking about. Michelle from the NFL, who's no longer with the NFL. Blonde hair gal, worked for Coach Ty. She was involved last time. Michelle McKenna. I would love to see her interview. I think she's got it. Scott Etheridge, the former kicker, who has done every kind of business venture you can imagine in the last 35 years. I'd like to see him get an interview. I would like to see Scotty Carr get an interview. Former, I guess he was a number 3 here, maybe a number 2. He's now the athletic director at FIU. His dad is the legendary Bill Carr, who used to find coaches for everybody. He was like the man, Carr and Associates was what it was called, and they were like a headhunting organization that found coaches, matched coaches with schools that needed coaches. I think Bill Carr was involved in the Tuberville hire, as I recall. But anyway, Scotty Carr is a stud on his own 2 feet. Did a really nice job here. Unflappable personality and just a good dude with a lot of experience here at Auburn. Also, David Benedict, who worked here under Jay Jacobs and is now the athletic director at UConn. As I mentioned on the bunker, I wrote about this a little bit today. He's a little bit of I don't want to say a hothead, but he's very assertive. And sometimes I wonder if that's what you need at Auburn, because I mentioned earlier you need more leadership here, not less. But I think you need someone who has more of a consensus builder. But I still think David Benedict's worth a look. And then Whit Babcock, who was here. God, he was here a long time ago. Shit, that might have been the 90s. Maybe 2000s. He's now the athletic director at Virginia Tech. Previously at Cincinnati. But I just kind of get the feeling they're trying to get away from like career athletic department people. I don't know. So we'll just have to see how this thing kind of breaks up. And there's also other people who are not super close to Auburn who I think are terrific ADs out there. The guy Utah is one of them who used to be at Troy. Heard his name come up a bunch. So I think that they're going to probably move on this pretty quickly. I would expect interviews to be going on in September and then a hire made in October would be my guess if it can be done. If it can be done. And this is going to be a great litmus test, for okay, hold on, I got to think about this for a second. Too many things going on in my head. I'm trying to say them all at once. I wrote a column about a month ago about how Auburn needs to consolidate, right? Too many people for too long have had different ideas, and these three groups of people that are kind of not necessarily trying to take over, but they just kind of bump because they have different ideas about what should happen at football coach, what should happen at AD, what should happen with this, that, and the other thing. Got to have somebody try to get these people on the same page, or at least kind of on the same page, so that Auburn can move forward as a group instead of just having this serial infighting. I think they feel like they may have turned a corner on that. And if they have, this AD search is going to be a great litmus test to see if they are kind of on the same page, because that's a situation where the stakes are high, but they're not super high like they are with a football coach. Let's see if they can kind of come to a consensus about what Auburn should be doing at that particular spot. I'm interested to see this. OTV emerges as a primary NIL collective that is on to victory. A group of folks bought Auburn NIL about, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and they have turned it into OTV. Brett Whiteside, who served as Gus Malzahn's director of recruiting and also director of football ops and was at Missouri until about last week, is now the executive director of OTV. And that is going to be, as I mentioned there, the primary NIL collective. I'm going to explain this here in a little bit, what that means. There's 3 layers to this, and we're going to break it down. I have a graphic. Slava Boyko says Randy Campbell for AD. Randy Campbell's a good example. Quality. He's a quality individual, but he's also a high visibility businessman with no experience in athletic administration, which to me is not a minus, and obviously a former Auburn star from the 80s. So he will be interesting too. I'd like to see him get an interview as well. I don't know him as well personally, but I think people like him. ETC emerges as a proper grassroots network. I'll mention this later. ETC stands for Ever to Conquer. And just hold on to that thought. I'll get there in a second. Quarterback quandary continues. We still don't have a QB1 named. I definitely think it's going to be TJ. I think he's even separated himself from Robbie at this point. I know this is kind of a mind bender because TJ was so-so last year, but it is what it is. Nick Brahms is going to be out. He hasn't been practicing lately. He's just kind of got a injury that's just kind of, it's not one of those where you just kind of sit down for a few weeks and you're fine. I think he's just either going to have to really play through a lot of pain or he's just going to have to not play. And, they basically begged him to come back and he came around on it, and then now he's like not really fit to play. It's not his fault. I mean, just it's like this. I don't. It's just an injury that won't go away. Essentially, Tank Bigsby was banged up last week. He's not like hurt, like out for the year or anything like that, or even out for the Mercer game. But he's already been banged up a little bit, and they need to wrap him in puffy tape or something. I mean, he cannot get hurt. He's the best thing they got on offense, and they just got to have him. Football lands 4-star DeQuavius Sori from Chipley, Florida. That was yesterday. He was committed to Georgia at one time, opened up his recruitment, and now he is committed to the Auburn Tigers. I think that's a big pickup. I think he's a really good player, and they're not having much trouble landing wideouts. Big-time defensive linemen and offensive linemen more so, having a little bit more trouble there. The football facility is nearing completion. I expect this to be finished by the end of this athletic season. If you guys have driven by there, had a chance to, I mean, it looks like it's together now. You know, I mean, that buildings are up. The fields are getting graded. I think this thing will be ready in 6 months or something like that. And it is really something to see. It is absolutely first class. I have toured Clemson's facility there in South Carolina, and I think this is better. Now, theirs is a little more of like a day camp, but this is going to be incredible. I mean, it really is. It's going to be on ESPN and shit. And then Hoops takes 2 of 3 in Israel. Auburn won the first 2 games there in the exhibition trip to Israel. Lost to the Israeli Olympic team in a game that was pretty closely contested. Had a good NBA player on there. I forgot his name, who fouled out with 6 minutes to go. And Auburn lost that game by maybe 10, 12, 14, something like that. But they still looked pretty good in that game. Just got a little loose with the ball. In the first 2 games, they weren't loose with the ball, and they played some great ball. And it changed my opinion of this team to some degree because they looked more competent than I thought they would. So those are the headlines. What I wanted to show you guys was this thing. This is I get a lot of questions about this. What's going on with NIL? Well, these are the 3 things you got to know. There's 3 parts to what the athletic department's trying to do. And this is the 3 of them. Tigers Unlimited. Everybody knows that. So people said to me, JG, they got this new NIL stuff going. I've always given money to Tigers Unlimited. Should I stop doing that? My opinion is no. If it's all about how you feel best giving to Auburn or helping Auburn is really the way I look at this, okay? Tigers Unlimited is like tickets and special projects when they build the football facility. That goes through Tigers Unlimited, all that kind of stuff. There's people who love giving money for that. It's just a very tangible, straightforward way to help Auburn. And if that's big for you and you've been doing that for years, keep doing it, by all means. All 3 of these prongs here are Auburn, and they all help Auburn. So it's just a choice. On to Victory is the new NIL collective. So their primary mission is to help current Auburn athletes monetize themselves and their brands. That's the goal of On to Victory. And when you do a good job with that and you can claim a lot of millions of dollars that athletes are getting, Suni Lee definitely helps that, and Jabari last year, because by themselves they were millionaires already. The more successful you are there about enriching, and is that a word? Enriching your current student athletes, that attracts prospective student athletes to say, hey man, they've got their shit together at Auburn, and when I go there, they're going to help me get good deals so that I can monetize myself and I can make money. So that's what On to Victory does. And then Ever to Conquer is one you probably haven't heard about. It's kind of like invite only at this point. They're just kind of getting started. That's going to be like a marketing and branding operation where they kind of outreach to schools, high schools, to 7-on-7 coaches, to 7-on-7 people who put on 7-on-7 camps. Their goal is to serially improve Auburn's standing with people out there in the football and basketball world. And what it really means to those of you who are involved with this kind of stuff is the REC, the Red Elephant Club in Alabama. They've been doing this since the 50s or 60s. And everybody says, oh, Red Elephant Club. The Red Elephant Club did it. Look, man, the Red Elephant Club is a legitimate organization that's been built out over decades. And this is exactly what they do. They market and they brand to help Alabama. They improve relationships with Alabama, on behalf of Alabama, with the high schools, with the 7-on-7 people, with the trainers. Auburn has never had that kind of a network. And we've been talking about this for years, that Auburn's got to have something. And here it is. It's Ever to Conquer. That's what they're going to do. And there's going to be people that are going to be involved with Ever to Conquer, and they're going to help a lot, and they're going to get this thing off the ground. And some people are really into that. This is where the rubber meets the road, is whatever to conquer is. These are the people that are out there talking to the players and the coaches. So those are the three levels, really. And I don't think there's a wrong answer. And I don't think it has to be one or the other. To me, it's all Auburn. And each one of these groups is trying to help Auburn in their own way. So, T. Roy Tiger says AU has needed something like this, ETC, for a long, long time. I completely agree. I couldn't believe it when I got here in the 90s and they didn't have anything. And it just kept going, you know. But now some folks have put their foot down and they said it starts here and it's going to take decades, but we're starting now. And so I think it's the right thing for Auburn, and I think it's something they've got to have, and I think eventually this is going to be something that really, really benefits Auburn. I don't think it's going to be this year. I think it's going to take longer than that, but we do have some very motivated people who have money and who already have some relationships who are going to be able to get this thing moving a little more quickly than you would expect. Pocket Watch has some questions. I don't know if I'm the right guy to answer all these because to me it's a little bit more. I'm just learning about it myself. Let's see. Slava says JGT has Brahms not been healthy since last season. I mean, I don't know how long this has been going on, honestly. I don't know with Brahms. I just know it's been going on here lately, you know, and you know he hasn't been practicing or anything. I mean, it's definitely going to be Tate Johnson in the first game, and I don't have any reason to trust him. I don't have any reason to rag on him either, and I don't. But I don't expect him to go out there and be awesome. I mean, what? And when you lose like a 5-year starter at center, I mean, I don't care if Nick Brahms is not a great push guy. He still knows the game, and he's still calling out the right calls. There's a lot of value there. Anyway, you think about Crystal says, I wonder how involved Bo and Cam will be in ETC. See, to me, it's not about how big the person is or how much money they have. It's more about just kind of how they feel comfortable doing it, right? Like what part of it interests them. I actually see somebody like Bo Jackson being an on-to-victory person myself. And I personally see Cam Newton probably being an ever-to-conquer guy because Cam is an emerging person anyway in the 7-on-7 world. I think as he transitions from football into post-football life, he'll see even more of that, and I think he can be a very important part of that element. But again, I just want to tell you guys, if you have spent your life being a Tigers Unlimited person, and you buy the tickets and you've put in on some of these projects, I mean, whether it's Auburn Arena, whether it's the Plains and Park upgrades, the football-only facility, if you're going back a little ways, the soccer facility, the soccer/track and field facility, whatever, and that's what your passion is, that's how you feel like you're helping Auburn, keep doing that. Like, nobody's telling you not to. There's just more ways than one to do it now. And it's all Auburn. Every one of these groups is helping Auburn in one way or another. It's just a matter of what interests you. So that's where I'm going with that. Indeed. Okay. Other things we're supposed to be talking about. I think we've covered quite a bit, though. I do have a commits pane here. They've got 8. Just added DeQuavius Sori from Chipley, Florida on Friday night. 4-star wide receiver, formerly committed to University of Georgia. And I think Ravine, if I missed it earlier, I think Ravine said he was hoping to get by to see him a couple times. So that would be sweet. Get some eyes on him. J.C. Hart, who committed last week, the defensive back from Lochapoka, who's probably a little underrated because he's new on the scene and hasn't been camping a lot. You know, he's not one of those guys that's been camping his whole life or anything like that. Ashley Williams, of course, these are guys that have been committed a little while. Ashley Williams, Wilkie Denaud, Carmelo English, who is actually pictured there on the left. The slot receiver from Central Phoenix City, plays for Bo Nix's dad. I don't know if you guys know this, but Bo Nix's dad used to play at Auburn. He was a quarterback at Auburn. Patrick, you may have heard of him. Jeremiah Cobb from Montgomery plays at Catholic High School here in town, and they absolutely steamrolled some poor fools last night. Terrence Love, who's probably the least committed player on this list, from Fairburn, Georgia, plays for Langston Hughes High School. Kind of a peripheral figure in that interesting breakdown between Auburn and the guys from Langston Hughes. Yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into that right now. And then Braden Joyner, of course, he calls himself the franchise. I don't know if you call him that. Center/guard from Auburn High School, who has been committed forever and will remain committed forever, and a good kid and a good football player. So there's your 8 right there. You look at it, you think, what, recruiting's not going good? These guys almost all 4-stars. That's true. But most teams have like 15 of them, and Auburn has 8. So there's a lot of work to do. A lot of work ahead. Got to get more dudes. Got to get more recruits. They're recruiting at a decently high level at this point. They just got to get more dudes. And I think they should have Bo Hewley right now, my opinion. And they should have Air Noland right now, in my opinion. And I also think that would have helped them with Joshua Horton, who committed to UNC over Auburn recently, a defensive lineman from Langston Hughes. Auburn should have all of those guys. And maybe they'll get some of them back. I don't know. But some of the stuff that went down at Big Cat should have been handled better. Let's see. Jared P says, what is Auburn doing on the offensive line after this year? Seriously concerned. That's a fair comment. Let's go over to the offensive depth chart. This is essentially I took what BMAT posted the other day, and I made a few changes to areas where I maybe disagreed with him on this, that, or the other thing, which doesn't mean BMAT's wrong or bad at all. You know I love BMAT, and he's great. But this is kind of what we're looking at, and you're right, Jared. If you look at this offensive line, I mean, Council's going to be gone after this year no matter what. KJ's got a chance to go to the league. I think he's really good when he's healthy. Trox will be done after this year. Alec Jackson's going to be done after this year. Brahms is going to be gone. So, just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, Tate Johnson, Avery Jernigan at center, I don't know. Like Jeremiah Wright, I believe in him, but he's kind of in irons right now. Like they say in sailing, when you're pointed right at the wind and you don't go anywhere, you're in irons. That's where he is. He's switching from offense to defense so much, he never has a chance to develop. Brendan Coffey's just an okay player. He's not anything special. Killian Zier from Munich, Germany. I'm curious to see what he's going to do this year. The people who know football tell me he's really good, but we need to see it. Auburn alumni says average age on our offensive line is 38 years old. He's not wrong, is he? Moby Alum says, yeah, what went wrong at Big Cat? Ah, man. It's just one of those things that, like, there's so many opinions, Here's what I think happened at Big Cat. This is my take on it. From having talked to some of the principals involved. Because I was there at the time when it was all happening. Air Noland is an important figure in the Langston Hughes orbit. He's the quarterback. He's a class of 2024 player. He is a very intelligent person, and he is a very aware person. I think he's terrific. He's one of my favorite players to talk to. I love him, and his dad's great too. He comes from a great family. Okay, this is an ideal player. Left-handed, can run a little, can throw a little. Good player. He's coming to Big Cat to commit, I believe. And I think he told people at Auburn that he was going to come to Auburn and commit. When you hear that and you know that, you get ready. He shows up, and Auburn takes a commit from the kid from South Florida, Adrian Posse, who is a good player. He's a very good player. He's somebody that Eric Keesaw, who's the offensive coordinator at Auburn, and he's a quarterback guru himself. Also, Brian Harson's a quarterback guy. They like Adrian Posse, too. They like both of these guys. Somehow or another, it was not communicated properly that Air Noland was trying to commit. And then, so Air Noland wants to commit to Auburn as a 2024 quarterback, and he has to sit there and watch Adrian Posse commit on the visit, which is a bummer for him. And I think it's poor. Oh, my God. Did you see that? Stephen P. comes by. Oh, my God. Look at this, guys. The legend himself. Stephen P. says, how is it possible that successful and committed boosters keep doing this fragmented and destructive crap for decades? Keep the spears pointed outwards and everyone will get what they want. a hell of a lot faster, which is a consistently competitive Auburn football team. It's so obvious. How do they not see it? It's the same pattern over and over. You're looking at it diagnostically, Stephen P., is what you're doing. That's the mistake you're making. You're thinking like a linear human being, and it's not a linear thing. And as somebody who has degrees in psychology, it's confusing. Thank you for your incredible support of what we do here, brother. And I do want to let folks know, I told him at the time, but Stephen P. also said that he regretted not being able to make the Huntsville event, and so he donated a ton of money to help pay, because we had an open bar for like an hour and a half in a bourbon event. Faith, who runs, or her and her partner run that bar that we were at, the Nook in Huntsville. They have a passion for bourbon, and they have a bourbon bar inside their bar, which is like all wooden and shit. It is really badass. And she had an incredible array of bourbons. And we had an open bar, open tab, for probably, what was it, guys, 2 hours? And Stephen P. made that possible. The generosity on his behalf is just insane. And we thank you so much, brother, for your support of the Brain Drain, and for me and for everybody at auburnsports.com. Just unbelievable. Thank you, bro. When we get back to our page, we'll just leave you up there the whole time. Thank you so much, man. Kind of getting back to some of this, man. That knocked my socks off right there. Thank you, Stephen P. An absolute legend. The wide receiver situation is, I think it's better. I mean, Shed Jackson to me is, he's solid. But now you got Camden Brown backing him up, and I think Camden Brown is going to be a dynamic playmaker. He may be this year, and he's certainly going to be in the coming years. Savion Capers has gotten better, but to me, he's still just kind of a solid. But, he's a third-team guy at this point. No big deal. Malcolm Johnson, I think, has taken a big step forward at this other side. I would call that the wide receiver, but whatever they want to call him. And then Coy's playing behind him. Coy, I think, has some real ability to push forward there, but Malcolm's been really good. Daz Warsham, who came over from Miami, who's actually from the Birmingham area, is technically third team right now, but I think he will play number 8. I usually see him running like slants and stuff. He seems like kind of an inside specialist, like running inside routes. Coaching Search says every super chat needs a matching donation to NIL. It's interesting you say that, Coaching Search, because I was thinking about ways that we could do that we could kind of turn super chats into something else. And I will continue to kind of think about that, because I don't necessarily, maybe NIL or something. We're going to do something with it. I'll figure something out. I was talking about the Kevin Greene thing. I just haven't been able to get a hold of his wife, and I don't need her permission, but I'd like to have it to start a scholarship at Auburn, through Auburn. It's not through me. It's through Auburn, where people would give to Auburn in Kevin Greene's memory for veterans who are coming back to school and helping them with various financial needs that they have, because we have several people on the bunker who have gone through that, who have come back after retiring from the military, and then they're going to school at Auburn, and it's tough. It can be tough. The paying for the tuition isn't necessarily tough, but it's everything else, and it would be things like that I know for a fact that Kevin Greene would have been passionate and fired up about. So that's stuff we're working on. And I still have, to the folks that gave at the Montgomery event, I got the money. And you're going to still get, it's not like I went drinking with it. I got it. And we're going to make that donation when we get it going. Anyway, let's see. Mobile alum says, Auburn alumni, I heard they think Posse is a better fit. You see, I don't know that they think that, though. Auburn alumni says, the thing with Aaron Nolan, though, Alabama, Georgia, etc., all take multiple elite quarterbacks in a single class. Not sure why it's a negative for Auburn to go after Posse and still have Noland if possible. I don't necessarily think it was just because they were taking 2. I think it was just the way it went down. And I think they needed to get that sorted instead of Aaron Nolan be sitting there and have to kind of sit in that pile of stinky shit right there. To him, it feels like a major sign of disrespect, and that's all that matters, is that he felt like it was. And then what happens is it has a cascading effect where, okay, well, now Bo Hughley, who may have been flipping, is not going to flip now because he thinks his quarterback just got facialed. And then you've got the tight end. can't remember his name now. Jelani Thurman is there as well, and he's just like laughing about it. Like, how in the world can they screw this up? And then Joshua Horton was not there at Big Cat, so I mean he wasn't necessarily part of that. And I think he was probably going to UNC anyway. Auburn will continue to fight for him, but it's just weird, man. And then Terrence Love did an interview like 2 or 3 weeks ago where he was saying he's not very committed, and I was like, what? I mean, it's tricky, man. It's tricky. Crystal says books, gas, and other things are expensive. You're dang right, girl. These are the things that we can do to help out. CDF says, I think there was more to the Aaron Nolan discussion pre-Stephen P. Yeah, Stephen P. kind of knocked me off. I'll be honest with you a little bit there. But I just think it was poorly handled. I do. I think it was poorly handled, and I think it was avoidable. I think it could have been handled much better. And, I mean, I've talked about it with some people, and there's differing opinions about who's at fault and what could have been done. And I'm not going to go into, like, you know, who screwed this up. It's stupid. I'm not going to do that. But that's the kind of stuff you got to get straightened out. You know, they hired some guys from the NFL recently to get a little bit more involved in the recruiting side of things, which I think is brilliant, assuming you can get good guys from the NFL, you know. And I think some people just get burnt out in the NFL, and they're running you ragged constantly. You have to really be ready to work all the time. And I think in college, I'm not saying that they're like lazy in college. They're not, but it's not every single minute of your life. Particularly with Harson, because Harson does believe in these guys having a life. Anyway, I think you'll see Auburn's recruiting get a little sharper. Richard W. says, can this be reconciled with the Langston Hughes kids? I do. I think it is fixable. I do. I don't think it's just like a permanent thing. I think it's just a roadblock, and you can get by it, and they will get by it. Melee says, this is funny, man. Who screwed up at Big Cat? That's probably what you mean. And why was it Stultz? That's great, man. I love you guys. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Johnny B. Good says, for real, how in the heck do you not take or misunderstand a commitment? How are we even having this conversation? Sometimes there's a lot going on. And I've made a comment before many times, and people make fun of me, and they say, because I said when Harson got hired that the recruiting operation was about to get really, really big. And it has. I cannot tell you guys. 10 years ago, there was like a recruiting coordinator, coach, and like 3 or 4 people. The Tiger hosts and Tigerettes obviously played a big role in that. But there weren't a lot of people involved full-time in recruiting outside of that. Now you've got an entire group. There must be 15, I would say 15 or more full-time people, and all they do is recruiting. There's probably more than 15, honestly. It's a massive operation. I think the more people you get working on something, the more likely it is you're going to have a miscommunication. Anyway, War Eagle 0008. I know for a fact you super chatted me earlier and I missed it, and I'm disgusted with myself. I know for a fact you did, and I apologize for that. I'm going to go back here and find it, and I'm very sorry about that. Here he is, War Eagle 0008. Super chatted me, and I missed it while I was babbling about something, and I apologize. It says, War Name Eagle J. Sorry, guys. Dang. That choked me up, man. War Name Eagle J was out when we started draining. Yeah, I was too. We lost power 2 minutes into the show, and I had to wait for the power to come back, and then I joined in progress with the folks who were already here. Thank you all. What kind of brown water are we drinking? Hope to see you in Birmingham soon. I've been in Birmingham, bro. I'm drinking this Journeyman. It's called an Iron Cross. It's a whiskey. A Silver Cross, excuse me. It's a whiskey. 2 years old, but they age it in 5-gallon barrels instead of the regular 53-gallon. So in their estimation, it ages faster because the bourbon is like right against the wall of the barrel at all times, essentially. Whereas in a 53-gallon barrel, it's not. So they're saying it ages faster. I think it drinks good, man. I think it's overpriced, but because I think I paid $65 for these. But I'll tell you this, man. I think it tastes delicious, and it's probably the thickest bourbon that I have. Like, if you like bourbon that's like oily, I guess is how you would describe it, like oily and thick. Another thing you would say is has a lot of legs. So, like, when you roll it around in the glass, it, like, sticks to the side of the glass, kind of. This is a really thick bourbon, and I don't know how they do it because it's only 2 years old, but I really enjoy it. If you happen to see it out, I'd give it a shot. In fact, you probably won't see this one because I've only seen it once. I mean, it was at my store as a barrel pick, but I haven't seen it since. But Journeyman is probably in your ABC, whether it's the Featherbone or it's the Buggy and Whip or whatever. I know it's from Michigan, and that's not really my shit normally, but they make some good stuff, man. I'd give it a shot. Mobile alum 1991 says, JJ, how do you like the Fabianch hire? That is exactly one of the guys I'm talking about. He's kind of an older, grizzled NFL veteran who came in here, and I love that direction. I love that they're doing that. I'm not very close to him yet, but I'm going to be. And I think he's someone that stays here. If there's a regime change, I think he stays here. Let's see. War Eagle 0008 says, I love it. Just moved back to the ham. As you know, I've been in Texas in oil. Glad to be home. We're glad to have you, brother. We have a very active Birmingham bunker group with some absolute stud legends, including AU Taxman, who's here, and Warek, who either was here, his wife maybe made him get off. I don't remember if he had to bounce or not. But we have a lot of great bunker folks in Birmingham. So I usually get up there probably 3 times a year for bourbon events or lunch events because we got some folks that own restaurants there, particularly Soho Social and Homewood is owned by 2 Auburn guys, and including new Gus Houdis on the board. So that's a great place to go eat, by the way. Yeah, you're going to be stoked. We'll definitely have something during the fall. Coaching Search says the recruiting operation is so big that it leads to paralysis by analysis, and we are too late to offer everyone. You know, honestly, Coaching Search, there's some truth to that. I do think Auburn's a little slow on the offers sometimes. I think they're sure on the offers. You know, I hear a lot of people say, well, they recruit like shit. And I'm like, I don't think so, man. I feel like they target the right kids. But as you mentioned, they're a little bit late sometimes, and they also are not very effective at getting them committed. But I feel like the guys they're after are the right guys, which is part of the battle. I mean, the real battle is getting them committed and signed, but I can't say they just suck from top to bottom. I feel like their assessments have been good. Man's opinion. CDF, who's been an absolute stud today as well, had our first super chat, was a biggin, and I think this is his 3rd one tonight. Thank you. Remember when the best ever 23 class is going to make or break the staff? LOL. Worst return on investment, quarterback room or recruiting staff? Oh, I got a sound for that, don't I? QB room or recruiting? I have to say recruiting staff. Yeah, but it's not that they're bad, though. I think they're good. There's, you know, Mobile alum's been talking about this all night. Like, Harson's hamstrung from stuff that's not his fault, right? I mean, the whole inquiry, you know, in February that was bullshit, like, or bullshitty-ish. It hurt them all. It hurts everybody involved with recruiting because it makes it that much harder. It really does. And these other teams, it's not negative recruiting, in my opinion. Negative recruiting is when you're, like, throwing around rumors and shit. It's not even rumors. You don't have to rumor Auburn. You just truth Auburn. You just speak on what you just get a headline. Harson being investigated. Harson might get fired. You don't even have to lie. You don't have to rumor monger. You just post the stories. Just being real about it, man. But I don't want you all thinking that I think the recruiting staff sucks, because I don't think they do. I actually think they're pretty damn good. And I'm not talking about the coaches. I'm talking about I'm not talking about the coaches. I'm talking about the people that work, that do recruiting all the time. Again, I think the assessments are right on. CDF is partially his fault. Probably talking about Harson and stuff, right? Yeah. All right, we're talking about BMAT. Some folks want BMAT on the horn, and I do too. I want to go through these depth charts really quick. You guys know the situation at quarterback. We talk about it every day. We write about it every day. The situation at running back really is not going to surprise anybody, except that for the fact that Damari Alston has been incredible. Keontae Scott, to me, has been the story of camp so far. He's been the biggest star of camp, but to me, Damari Alston is right there. Just got a question on the I know who that is. Got a text from Chris, we'll just leave it at that, who asks about Clessy. She does not work at Auburn anymore for various reasons, for whatever reason. I'm not getting involved in it because I don't know the answer and I don't care. I don't know and I don't care. But no, Klesi does not work there anymore. Okay, back to depth chart. I'm sorry. So Damari Alston has been incredible. I think they feel like they've got a good one there. I mean, he's playing behind Tank, and Jarquez was really good the first half of the season last year, and I think they still love Jarquez Hunter. But Alston is he's not just some dude. They feel like he's got some real ability. Tight end is the same as it was last year, deep and solid. And then we've talked about everybody else. Landon King is one we talk about a lot because he's just such a freak-looking dude. He's a great athlete. He's tall. He's long. He's a good receiver of the football, but I think they've got some questions about just running his routes. I mean, he's been a tight end his whole career, and now he's kind of making that switch to play slot receiver. They're big slot, and he's just having to learn a little bit about route running and route integrity. But Ike Hilliard, the position coach there, absolutely adores the kid, and he's doing good. He's doing really good. I don't think he's going to play a lot this year, or he's not going to have a big statistical footprint this year, but he's doing good. Going over to the defensive side of the ball, I had some questions here. Some of this stuff gets a little bit weird because they can switch between edge and like a linebacker spot sometimes, like Joko Willis. Like, where the hell do I put Joko Willis? Joko Willis is a blitzer, basically. I don't really have a spot for that. But anyway, I love what they're doing up front here with Colby Wooden, Jason Jones, Marcus Harris, and Derek Hall, plus Echo Leota is essentially a starter for me as well. Wherever, he's going to play a ton, and he's playing great football right now. Love their first-team guys, and if you consider Leota a second-team guy, it's an incredible second-team guy. Marquise Burks has had a really good camp. Mojo over at the other defensive end, he's just kind of a weird-looking player because he looks like he's too small to play the spot, but he is effective. I'm interested to see what he's going to do this year. He's the kid they got from Memphis. And then you've got Tebeki Okoli is playing there a little bit. I saw him repping in that last practice I went to with the threes. Marquise Robinson, who was like going to leave, and then he didn't leave, and then he was going to leave, and then he didn't leave, but he's here now. Anichi Sledge, just kind of working his way through. He's a true freshman. Looks great. He's gained a lot of good weight. And then Zeke Walker I've got as a red because I think he's banged up. Harson doesn't talk much about injuries, which is fine. But I don't think Zeke's 100% right now. I don't think Zeke's 75% right now. And then over at edge, you just have an embarrassment of riches here with Hall, Leota, Marcus Bragg, who's the transfer from Western Kentucky. He's a little thin, a little narrow, but I think they like his effort. And then Dylan Brooks, who's kind of coming along. He's still very narrow. And then Joko Willis, I don't know where to put him. I think he's going to play a little bit, but I don't know where. I don't know if he's going to be like a special linebacker or like an edge or like a D. I don't know. Cam Riley and Peppo, I would think are going to be the starters at linebacker, but Wesley Steiner is basically a starter too. I just don't know who the first guys out there will be, but to me it's going to be a three-man rotation with Cam Riley, Pap, and Steiner. All of them have been having a good camp. Eugene Asante from UNC has been solid. Desmond Tisdale, solid. Robert Woodyard, they love what they've seen out of him so far, but he's going to be playing behind some guys that are really good and experienced. And then I really like the defensive backfield. Nehemiah and Simp are really good cornerbacks, time-tested. They've done it all. Zion Puckett is a solid, if not unspectacular, safety. Caden Bridges has been very good this camp. B-Matt and I disagree at nickel. I think he had Kaufman as a starter. I think Keontae is going to end up starting there. So let me go ahead and flip them. I think Keontae is going to start at nickel. I really do, which leaves Kaufman kind of out on an island a little bit, which means he wouldn't be starting, even though he's had a good camp and he's kind of a senior player. But Keontae has been incredible. I can't believe that guy just showed up on campus like 2 days before the first practice, and he has blown everybody away. And A.D. Diamond has been playing some pretty good football too. Still a pretty young player. DJ James over here behind Nehemiah is the kid from Oregon that transferred in. And so I like this is a good group, barring some injuries up front. And you would hate to lose Puckett at this point, but everybody's in this spot. I love this defense. I think they're going to be really good. I think statistically they're going to get it done, and I think this is the kind of defense. If you had a good offense, this is the kind of defense that wins you games. I think it's stacked correctly. I think it's been coached correctly. You've got strength in all the spots. You got some experience. It's good. It's a good group. Make sure there's nothing else going on to see. Jesse Williams says, I'm glad to see JG is back. I'm glad to see you're back, Jesse. Thank you for being part of the show here. I got to go back up here to Stephen P. My goodness, that was insanity. There he is. I don't think I'm going to be able to knock this down enough, but we'll just have to deal with it because what an incredible super chat. My goodness. Auburn alumni says, need Papo to stay healthy. Damn right about that. He's an important player. He does miss more plays than you would expect, but he is a leader, and he is a strong person, and he's a great person for young players to look up to. Just a hard worker. He's going to be a team captain all year long, and yeah, he's a stud. I mean, what else do you want me to say? Let's see if we can get B-Matt on the horn here. I don't need that. All right, we'll see. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear B-Matt when he's on the horn. It's only 8:55, though, so he's probably not asleep yet. It's ringing. Is it Brian Matthews? What up, bro? I'm all right. I don't think that people can hear you right now, so let me hang up and see if I can get this thing working right, okay? All right, see ya. I know you guys couldn't hear him. I had a problem with this earlier, and I eventually got it to work, but somehow or another it's not working the way that it should. And I hate it when this happens when I'm on the air. I actually spent the day troubleshooting this and thought I got it fixed. But sometimes it has other ideas. Nope. You guys aren't hearing that either. Unbelievable. That's so frustrating, yo. Man, that's frustrating. May not be taking calls tonight, y'all. Super, super disappointing. I can hear him, but y'all can't hear him. I know that. Dadgummit.
Or testing service. After the beep, please record a...
Now you guys can hear it. All right. I don't know what happened. I don't know what changed, but you can hear it now. I think people can hear you now, B-Matt.
All right.
I'm so stoked to have you back on the show. You know, it's been 6 months since we've done a show, I think.
Has it been that long?
I think so. You know, we obviously wish that you were out at Sonic right now getting a banana cake milkshake. I know, a birthday cake milkshake.
Yeah, maybe next time. We'll plan it out better next time.
What the heck's been going on, bro? What was practice like today?
Well, it was kind of boring, but I did get accosted by a security guard.
Hey, like, was she cute?
No. Mm-mm. No. So, first of all, we go in the media entrance that we always go in, you know, right over there next to the player entrance or whatever.
Yeah.
And Marcy is working the gate. She's like letting people in. Marcy Girton, the interim athletic director. Yes. And she said something about like they didn't have a person to do that, so she was doing it. So that was weird to begin with. So then I walk through the tunnel. I come up on the come to the field. I'm about to go right and open the gate and go up into the stands. And this very large woman yells at me, "Sir, I need to see your credential." And I'm like, "Ma'am, this is a Wendy's." I didn't really say that. But I was like, we didn't get credentials. This is practice. They just told us to come in here and then go up to the stands. And there's going to be more media coming behind me. And she seemed to accept that just fine. So, I go to practice. I watch practice. It's thrilling, sitting in the seats. And then, so I leave. And I go back down the stands, back out that way. And I'm opening the gate. And she says, "Sir, stop. You can't come this way. You have to go out, back up the stairs and out that way." I'm like, this is the way I came in. And Shelly and the media relations is standing right there. And they're like, "It's okay. This is all right." But yeah, she was very, her job was very important to her. And she was not wanting me to move around that stadium at all.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a legend, Brian.
Well, it's okay. But then the funny part of the story is that as I'm walking out of the stadium, I realize I left my glasses and my water bottle up in the stadium. So I have to go back and get it. But there's no way I'm going back by that security guard again.
Yeah.
So I circled back up and went in the main entrance, and then went down and got him. So that's my fun story from the day. I'm sure everybody's thrilled. I
bet you were really happy when that was all going on, too. You're in a great mood about it.
I was. And plus it was hot and steamy, and, yeah, it was great. It was awesome.
Did you see anything of value? Man, I watched your practice highlights, and they sure looked pretty. You do a nice job of cinematography. But did you get anything? Could you learn anything?
No, not really. I mean, most of my observations reinforced, the linemen, the offensive linemen I thought would be there were there, the receivers. It looked like they were resting Tank and Jarquez at running back and giving Damari a lot of reps. The quarterbacks were fine today, but they've been, fine, solid, good, average, whatever you want to call it, every time we've been out there for the most part, right? They've had their ups and downs, but on average, they've been solid. I thought that's what they were today. Nothing
solid,
special.
No doubt.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to expect. I mean, they may be okay. If they can run the ball, maybe the quarterbacks can settle in there and have time to make some plays. Or let's just say TJ, because that's who I think is going to start. And it felt like he was the first quarterback, although I did mix things up a little bit, but it still felt like he was the number one, as he's been the entire preseason that we've seen.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be TJ. But my question is offensive line. Is it going to be good enough? And you can't really judge that when they're just thudding. I mean, you don't know. Because they were just thudding today, right?
No, they did line up in situations they had like a 3rd and 1. And as soon as they call it, or maybe it was 4th and 1. No, it's 3rd and 1. As soon as they call it a situation, I just laughed. I was like, yeah, well, just go ahead and bring up the punt team, right?
Yeah.
But the first team, they moved the first team defense out of the way and got that first one. And then I think they did a couple of times. I know the second team did not get it done. They got nailed in the backfield. But, yeah, they did some different things like that. They had 2nd and 8, 3rd and 1, stuff like that, different little situations they worked on. If they got it, they got another play. If they didn't get it, they brought up another team. And,
yeah,
that type of stuff.
One of those kind of deals.
Yep.
We were trying to go through this depth chart earlier, B-Matt, and I can't shake this feeling that the defense is going to be good and the offense is going to be just kind of questionable because, I look at this offensive depth chart. I don't necessarily love it, man. I just don't know if I trust these offensive linemen enough. Am I wrong?
Skeptical, right? These same dudes couldn't get it done the last couple of years. So we'll see. That doesn't mean they can't get it done this year. And there are some different dudes working in now. You got a different center, Tate Johnson. You basically have a new left tackle in Killian Zaire. And then you've got some important guys back healthy. Austin Troxell, he's healthy, although it looked like he was either sitting out or got a little banged up. Because the first time I watched the offensive line, he was out there with the ones. And then it was, I guess it was Brendan Coffey or maybe Alec Jackson. I don't remember who it was that went with them after he came over. But he wasn't getting treatment or anything. He was just standing around watching a little bit. But, you got him, and then you got Brandon Council, who, if you go back 2 years ago, the first half of the season, I thought he was Auburn's best offensive lineman until he got hurt, but he's been hurt for 18 months. Yeah. So this is the first time he's been healthy. So maybe he is a decent offensive guard. We'll see. So, while I'm very skeptical, I also feel like there is hope, right? It's not like it can't happen or it won't happen or there's no chance it'll happen. You just don't know. The path to being a good team is the offensive line perform, Auburn runs the ball very well, and they're a play-action team that doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes and is very good on special teams, and the defense is as good as we think it will be. All those things can absolutely happen. But I think a lot of that hinges on the offensive line and the quarterback.
Yeah, agreed. On the defensive side of the football, B-Matt, it's a pretty good group here. I mean, they've got players stacked up. They've got a really good first team, a defensive front, and I think this group's going to be really good.
Yeah, I think they got some important depth pieces. I think Eku Leota may be one of the most improved players on the team. I think him and Derek Carr absolutely wreak havoc. And if they can stay healthy, that defense is going to just destroy some teams and really make it tough on some other really good teams that probably think they can beat Auburn, whether handily or whatever they think. But those guys are good, and they've got real depth in the secondary. Cante Scott's been a camp standout.
Yeah.
Watched him a little bit today. Jalen Simpson made some plays today. Owen Popo, you can see what a leader he is out there on the field. I don't know that we've seen him healthy for a couple of years. And, he's obviously taken on a much bigger role now. Before he was more of a supplemental piece. So he's another guy. We just don't know how good he is yet. We'll see. Everybody on that coaching staff thinks he's real good, but maybe we haven't seen it ourselves. So, yeah, I do think this defense can be good.
B-Matt, you did a hell of a job. Thanks for soldiering through despite that little dust up today.
Yeah. Well,
and
I did not get upset or say anything mean. I just okay, whatever. I'm cool.
What's this white stuff right here? No, I know you're stoked about Liverpool getting a 9-0 win today too.
I couldn't believe they took out their frustrations on poor Bournemouth. Man, that was nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
And then, man, you got to win too, right?
Yes, 1-0 over Southampton. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's good stuff, B-Matt.
And Nebraska is terrible again. They're not back.
No, I don't think they're back, man. Scott Frost has got some bumpy days ahead.
Yeah, you ask on the opening press conference if you consider quitting. Basically, is
that true?
The first press conference, yes. I think it was phrased something like, "Would you consider just walking away or something like that on your own?"
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like
those people. They are bloodthirsty, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you got to give the Auburn beat at least the month of September, okay, before we start asking questions like that, right?
Yeah. All right, B-Matt. It's always awesome having you on the show, bro. We think you're an incredible beat writer, and we love having you on, bro.
Hey, I appreciate it. See you soon.
All right, man. See you.
Hey.
There he goes, Brian Matthews. I was able to get him on, and thank you, Skype, for cooperating with me there to have the doer of many things, Brian Matthews, on the horn. We also wanted to get Stultz on here as well, for sure. Everybody's kind of watching the Alabama State game and noting that Didi's having a heck of a game, which we're all fired up about. Of course, Didi played at Auburn. Was it 2 years? Maybe redshirted the first year and then was here last year and then transferred to Alabama State. Demetrius Davis, a really cool kid who I imagine is going to be great in the SWAC. And somebody made a parallel earlier to Malik Willis. And they're a little bit different in the sense that Malik needed to get his head right and change some of his practice habits to get better. I don't really think that was the problem with Didi. I think he just needed to get out from under. He needed to get somewhere where he could get some first-team reps. But I'd love to see it. I think everybody else would as well. And Chip notes that the FSU highlights of their game against Duquesne, is that who they played today? I believe I saw that on the Ranked app today. That there were about 16 fans in the stands. Dude, I remember seeing pictures. It's been like this for a couple years, right? I mean, there were games a couple years ago. I think there was a photo that went around social media of them playing a game, and it was literally half full, maybe. I mean, those people just checked out, absolutely checked out. Auburn alumni is fired up for this Vandy Hawaii game. That's going to be the first SEC game of the year, right? That's Edge. I remember Hawaii was saying something like, Vandy ain't going to know what's coming. And I'm like, Vandy's been getting their ass kicked up and down the field in the SEC for a while against teams like Alabama and Georgia, Florida when they were good. I don't think Hawaii's a big deal. Also, Jason Caldwell, esteemed friend who works over there at Auburn Undercover now. He's always been inside the Auburn Tigers, but I think officially at Auburn Undercover now. Was saying I think that Hawaii has a new stadium. They're not playing in the Aloha Bowl anymore? Or in the Hula Bowl, excuse me. What the heck is that? I feel like, when I'm thinking of Hawaii games, I'm thinking of having those, when they always do a panoramic shot of the stadium and you see those walkways that are like, They're going from deck to deck that are like way up and suspended up in midair with nothing around them. Shit freaks me out, man. It scares me. It scares me. It scares me so. Let's see if I can find Sir Brian Stultz on here. Where are you, Stultzy? Trying to find his number on here. Boy, we didn't talk to him very much last year, did we? Jeez. I don't think I've got him on here. Let's see if this will work. I think this is going to be Stultz. Or maybe not.
Yes, sir.
Is this Stultzy?
I am here.
Hey, Stultzy.
What's up?
What have you been doing tonight?
Had dinner. Had a couple drinks. And that's about it.
Okay. Are you like watching Murder, She Wrote or what?
Not yet. Not yet. I plan on doing that later tonight.
What did you were you able to gather anything from the practice today?
How can I put this nicely? The offense is going to be bad.
Uh-oh.
No matter who's at quarterback, the offensive line can't block anybody. The defense could be really, really good. I will say that. Besides that, nothing. Alex McPherson can kick the shit out of a ball.
The what?
He can kick the shit out of a ball.
Oh, you talking about Alex McPherson?
Yeah, the freshman. Yeah.
Yeah, Harson keeps talking about he's so small, but he can absolutely crush the ball.
Got a 60-yarder today.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's insane.
I have some good news. John H. From the chat here says Angela Lansbury is smoking hot. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I got
She
you.
is the best-looking woman ever.
I told you the other day that Selena Gomez is the hottest girl ever. So
Angela Lansbury is so much more talented too.
I don't know. Selena Gomez is really smart too.
Chitty Bang Bang, Murder She Wrote.
Chip says, "Hang up now." Hey, let me. So you went on I did not listen to the segment, but you went on a radio show. Was it yesterday to talk about Alan Greene?
Yes.
And were you disgusted? Are you disgusted by the way you feel like Auburn has treated him?
Not really.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No.
Do you kind of feel like this was coming?
I was coming for a year or two. I mean, maybe a year. I mean, he interviewed for other jobs. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no secret that he was wanting out or people wanted him out. So get it over with, and move forward.
Okay. You said you had a couple drinks. Are you been drinking bourbon or?
A little bit, yeah.
What kind? I know it's the brown kind, but you know what brand?
The Elijah Craig.
Yes, that's good.
1847.
Please stop with that. Just that's the date on the bottle. It has nothing to do with what it's called.
No, it's not 1840. Oh shit! What is the date?
It's like 17 something.
Oh, 17.
92 probably. Anyway, Stultzy.
It was the Battle of Yorktown.
Be sure you always got to stay hydrated when you're drinking brown water, right? So you're drinking your water and staying good, right?
I buy a light. Yeah.
Attaboy. BioLite will work, definitely.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to riff on, Stultzy? Because I feel like you might be a little too turned.
No, I'm good.
Are you partying with people, or are you just like watching Lifetime?
No, I am home, and I just got home about 30 minutes ago, and gonna watch Hallmark Movie Channel. Hallmark. Yeah. Lifetime's too dark.
Yeah. If you see Danica McKellar, you need to text me though, because I want to watch her.
Am I gonna get fired for this experience?
No, of course not.
All right, good.
I'm the only one judging, and you're doing great.
All right, good.
Just I want you to make sure you stay hydrated, though. I don't want you to wake up with a headache. I don't want you to have I don't want your tum tum to be rubbling.
No, I mean we had so much media availability this week coming up, so I had to be hydrated.
Yeah, you're right.
So, anyway.
Stultz, you're a legend. It's a pleasure having you here at auburnsports.com. We love your creativity, and we love that you're willing to be yourself, and I like that about you.
I love everyone on the bunker.
All right, Stultz. We'll see you, bro.
All right. See you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
There it is. Brian Stultz, ladies and gentlemen. He's had a drink or two, maybe. I know Mobile Alum says, oh, my God, Lifetime is too dark. What the hell? Hey, man, listen, it sounds crazy to me, too, but I think he's a real expert when it comes to Lifetime and a Hallmark Channel. And so if he says it's too dark, I'm just going to go ahead and roll with it. Whatever. Melee says, am I fired? Great interview, JGT. Stultzy's an interesting talker anyway, but I think when he's had a little Elijah Craig, T-Roy, was it 1792? That's all right. You got to drink a little bit of water with it. Although, to be fair, T-Roy Tiger, I was absolutely tore up at Troy last weekend. Completely annihilated. I remember there's parts of that trip home I don't remember, which is probably for the best because there were some things that went on in that van. Somebody I think might have thrown up in that van. It wasn't me. I haven't done that. DJ Wolfman JBC says, missed the first hour. We are still thinking 15-0. Yeah, of course. 16-0 maybe. I don't know. Chris says, made me like him more. Bourbon. Chris H., a fellow bourbon enthusiast. I actually went to Birmingham. Pocket Watch says you were in Troy last weekend. Hell yeah, I was in Troy last weekend. As was I. Yeah, I was at the Troy Drawdown at the Trojan Arena, supporting the Troy Trojans. I like Auburn, but I like Troy too. I also like South Alabama because my daughter goes there. But we'll see. Ravine says Brain Drain is undefeated. We do find a way to get into trouble on this show, a lot more so than others. I watched the War Report with those guys. Actually, I get to see B-Will at Auburn about once a week now, which is really cool. I always thought, like, on the show, if you guys watch War Report, I always thought B-Will was a little heavier. I mean, I'm not saying he was like fat or anything, but I just thought he was kind of a heavier guy. He's a really thin guy. So his camera is not doing him justice, and I told him this. Anyway, I get to see B-Will a fair amount, and I was texting with Mike G the other day. So love those guys. But they're pretty serious on the show. I mean, they laugh and stuff, but they don't have the weirdness that we do here, which is probably for the better for them. Because I don't know if you guys have figured it out, but I kind of don't give a shit, right? We're just here to have fun, and I'm not worried about metrics and that kind of stuff. I'm just here to have fun. And I think you guys, the ones that stay with the Brain Drain, who have been with us through the pandemic and all that stuff, I think you guys get it. Pocket Watch says, of course we all watch War of War. Of course you would. I watch it. You should watch it too. I love him. I don't know. I haven't met Caesar, though. I've messaged with Ike, and then I've met B-Will and Mike G. So, big fan of those guys. Love what they do. And I think we were the first people to ever partner up with them, and we're still got it going. So, I really believe in what those guys are doing. I was really happy to help them kind of get that thing moving. I mean, they did all the work, obviously, but for me to kind of provide some support for them, I love what they're doing. And, I mean, they're affecting everybody in a positive way. I think it just brings the level of water up high for everybody else, moves all the ships up. That's what I love. John H. says, I went to Troy State prior to Auburn. Nice place, very small. It's not that small anymore, though, John. Really, it's gotten bigger. And I still thought that South Alabama was, well, I don't want to say that, because my friend J-Dub might be watching. He's a Troy guy. And I got Bill and Kim and my friends that go to Troy alums. I don't want to be like ragging on Troy because, I mean, at the end of the day, right, my daughter goes to South, so I mean, I got to pick a side in that battle. But Troy is nice. It's a lot nicer than I thought it was in the 90s when I was over there covering Blakeney. They've got some really nice dorms and it's going places, man. I know a lot of kids from Maddie went to school with that went to Troy, and they're having a great time. So, hey, love it. Let's see. Matt C says he thinks C-Dub and B-Will have the weirdness. Mike is on the gummies, and Ike ain't got time for y'all. The funny thing is that when I message with Ike, I see that on the show too with Ike, that he seems kind of, stern, I guess. But when I message with him, he's always really nice. So, I don't know. But me and B-Will are going to get together and make some beats. He can make beats for real, and I want to make beats for real. And so he's going to pass along some knowledge to me at some point soon. I'm pretty fired up about that. I don't really want to put... Here's the thing, guys. So Ravine was saying the brain drain, let's get weird. I kind of want to get Henry on the phone. Henry's our intern, Henry Patton. And the reason that I want Henry to get on the phone is because he is in... Actually, I've not talked to him about this. My administrative assistant asked me if I need anything. No, ma'am. I'm good. I'm going to check with Henry here real quick and just see if maybe he can jump on, because he is down in Tallahassee, and I think he's chasing a girl down there. And I don't know that, though. I'm going to ask him if he can jump on the show. He was actually on the chat earlier, but that was a long time ago. I would just like to kind of see what he's up to and what's going on. We kind of probe this a little bit. It's kind of fun. So Chip says we need some 8-bit MIDI beats for the BD intro. Yeah, I did change the music. Hornatius made me feel so bad about the music that I played last year. He said it was so cheesy and elevator music-y that I changed it. And I think it's a little more hip and cool now. Hey, by the way, Stephen P., I've left this up for a while. You're an absolute stud, an absolute legend. We love you. And thank you so much for your support of everything we do here at auburnsports.com and at the Bunker Events and here on the Brain Drain. Henry just jumped back with me here. Let's see. I don't know if he's at the FSU game or what. He says, can get on RQ. These kids and their lingo, I don't know. I guess we won't be getting my main man Cristiano on here anymore, will we? Nah, Cristiano left. He went to another site. It happens. Happy for him, though. He's over there reunited with his homie, Nate King. He and Nate King kind of came up together at the Plainsman. And, yeah, it's pretty cool that they get to have a chance to work together. And they get to work. I'm jealous. They get to work with Jason. I never had a chance to work with Jason on my team, Same with P. Marsh. Putting CDF's, third or fourth super chat up there? Thank you, bro. Hold on. I had a call coming in, but I want to try to get Henry on here if we can get Henry on here. Let's see. T. Roy Tiger says he's knee-deep in amaretto sours. Are you talking about J-Dub or Henry? I'm just kidding. I would really like to know. I'll tell you what. I'll just go ahead and call him. Hey, I'm mad. I know that's what he was saying, but I just wasn't used to that lingo. All right, let me see if I can get him on the horn here real quick. Henry's an interesting case. He, No. It's got me calling Stultz here. I don't want to do that. I'm screwing this up somehow. How do I get to the... Man, I'm freaking out here, guys. For real. Oh, here we go. Can y'all hear that? I better mute Skype so y'all don't hear that. So I got to type this one in because he's kind of new to the team, so I haven't put his number in here yet. He's from a 469 area code. That must be Texas. All right, here we go. I'm calling him up right now. Let me unmute this Skype call. Yo, is this Henry?
Yeah, it is.
This is JG. I work at auburnsports.com.
Oh, word?
Yeah, word. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Just got back from not Doak Walker, but whatever their stadium is called. So,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. First of all, what was the crowd like?
It was kind of mid, I'm going to be honest. Now, it was a little rainy and It's Duquesne, but a lot of empty seats. I bought my way in there for like $20 and then moved to the 50-yard line, like third row. So it was pretty nice.
Were you? Tell me about the reason that you went there.
Okay, so my friend works for WEP, War Eagle Productions, and he does like video camera stuff during the games. And Florida State was like, "Hey, it's a week 0 game. Auburn's not playing. Can you come work for us this week?" So he came. He worked that game, and he got a free Airbnb. So I just came with him because it had a free room, cheap tickets.
I thought
go down there.
I thought you were going down there to max some chicks.
I mean, that's partially the reason, primarily the reason, but I'm waiting right now for him to get back, and then we're going to probably hit downtown after he gets back.
Or are you going to go to Bullwinkle's?
I have no idea what that is, but yeah.
It's a bar, dude. It's like the most legendary bar in Tallahassee.
Oh, what? So what he said was we're just going to go bar hopping just because.
Okay.
I didn't even look up anywhere. I was just planning on just kind of going wherever.
Yeah, okay. Can you kind of give us like just a basic like overall view of like what your ideal target would be tonight?
Ideal target?
Yeah.
Oof. Something not below a 7. Although I'm gonna have drunk goggles on though, so that'll be a tough view for me because we're gonna pregame with like a tequila mixer thing. I shouldn't be saying this. I'm not even 21 yet, but we're gonna pregame with that and then go out and something.
Okay.
I would say. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from Tallahassee.
Yeah. Okay. Is this your first time?
It is my first time here.
I've had some very interesting nights at Bullwinkle's. I think you ought to try to push for Bullwinkle's because that place is generally just insane. And I think that a night that they played, like if Florida State played, I think it's going to be more insane than average. You're probably going to see a fight. You're probably going to see a pair of titties, and you may see a naked girl. What
if I instigate all 3 of those things?
I would hope that you wouldn't be fighting, Henry, because you're small, and I think you would get knocked out.
I can fight. I know how to fight.
Okay.
I have some hands.
Yeah, but you wear like cartoon socks though.
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean I can't fight.
Oh, okay, word. Pocket Watch on the chat says it should be called Tallahassee. See, you're in the right place, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I wish you well.
Appreciate that.
I hope that you go to Bullwinkle's and clean up, and then you go across the street to a place called Gumby's.
I have heard that one, actually.
Where you can get the pokey sticks. They're good at like 1 a.m. For somebody like you. For me, I'm way too old, and I would gain 15 pounds from that, but you're fine.
Yeah, I got a few reviews for that. Word.
Well, I hope that you pick up some hotties, dude. I hope she's at least an 8.
I hope so, too. I'm hoping my drunk goggles aren't too bad.
It's fine. You're only like, well, you're 21 because you're going to be drinking, so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
Henry, you're a legend. We're glad to have you here at auburnsports.com, and I hope that you do well tonight, sir.
Appreciate it. I am glad to be here.
Thank you for joining.
Yes, sir.
See you, bro.
See you.
There he is, Henry the intern, who is in Tallahassee, and he is he's ready to go out there and do some damage. I mean, good for him. I think he's got the right attitude. And let's see. Chip says there is a difference between starting fights and participating. Good point, Chip. Sounds like you've been on both sides of that. I got a call coming in from Anonymous. I don't really know what that means, so we'll just see what happens here, okay? Hey, thanks for calling in to the Brain Drain. Who I got on the home?
Hey, it's Weagle 1492.
What up, man?
First time calling in.
How you doing?
Pretty good, dude. How are you?
Great. I'm glad to have you on the horn tonight. Are you having fun?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good time.
That's what I'm talking about. Are you with some hotties tonight, or like what are you up to tonight?
No. Is this Jay?
Yeah, fuck yeah, it's
Jay.
Jay.
On oh, okay. I was watching the stream. Nah, man. I'm actually watching the AUDL Championship. It's like Ultimate Frisbee Championship.
Oh shit! Yeah. Cool.
It's pretty cool. Chicago's gonna lose, I guess, but what I called in to talk about was Harson and recruiting.
Yeah,
honestly.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, my question to you is like, how much of the poor recruiting is his responsibility, and how much of it do you think comes down to just not having enough NIL money or not a good enough NIL system?
That's a great question.
Or is it like his lack of embracing that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't think he's a very good recruiter per se, but head coaches aren't necessarily supposed to be great recruiters. I mean, some of them are. Kirby is. Nick Saban's a great closer.
Yeah.
I don't think Harson's very good at it, and I don't think the staff. I don't think everybody cares deeply about recruiting really hard. I think that's the biggest problem. I don't think NIL is the biggest problem. No way.
That's pretty interesting because, I mean, at least from the outside looking in, it's like you would think every coach, at least in the SEC, would get it, that, like, recruiting is the very most important thing you can do. Like, I don't know if Harson legitimately believes that he can coach up, like, 3 stars to win football games in the SEC, or, you know, why coach that way if you know that it's not going to work? Like, what are these coaches who aren't, you know, prioritizing recruiting, prioritizing NIL, what's his plan to win?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm not sure what the answer to that is. I think if you ask them, Weagle, I think they would say that they care. I just think that the results suggest to me that they don't care enough, or they don't care as much as, like, Del McGee cares, or that Nick Saban cares. You know what I mean? Maybe working really hard in recruiting to them means something different than what it means at Georgia or Alabama or Florida. But I'm not trying to say they're lazy at all. They're not lazy. I don't really know what to call it. They're just not getting it done on the recruiting show right now, and that's that. But I don't think it's an NIL problem, dude. Auburn has money. Auburn has money, and they're getting organized. And
we have so much money.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So, you know, you guys don't know too much about me, but I've been around Auburn for a really long time.
No shit.
And
I thought you were pretty young, man.
You know, no. I mean, maybe relatively young to some of the folks on the board, but I have been on the bunker for 12 years.
Attaboy, nice. Thank you.
Yeah. And, you know, you and I have had our ups and downs, but overall, it's one of the best places to be on the internet, I think, for Auburn fans. But yeah, man, what I was gonna say is, like, you know, I've gotten around Auburn. I know the connections, and I know how we've gotten a lot more money lately than maybe we had back in the 2009, 2008, you know, era. There's been a lot of new money coming in. Some of it prioritizes academics and some of it prioritizes athletics. But like you said, I don't think there's a real shortage of it. So my question really related to Harson has always been, is he motivating the money correctly? Is he using it correctly? And, you know, it just looks like the answer is no. And so, you know, it's hard to see how he's going to stick around. I mean, I think kind of if we win 8 games, that's a worst case scenario, because I think he does stay, and I don't think he recruits much better.
Right.
So
I think that's a legitimate concern. You know, I was talking to somebody earlier today, Weagle, and he said the entire world changed on July 1st, 2021, which is when NIL kicked in. And he was kind of arguing that if you were really good at running an athletic department before then, that doesn't mean shit anymore, because you've got to show that you're good running it now because the whole world has changed. I think kind of what you're hitting at here is that Harson, you know, he hasn't adjusted. And the world is a much different place now since NIL. I just don't know as though he's embraced it. But I don't want to sit here and shit on him too much, Weagle. You know, I don't know. I just don't want to shit on him too much.
No,
you can. I just don't.
I think he's definitely gotten had a rough time at Auburn. He got the short end of the stick. I don't think he did anything to anybody. You know, it's not like he came in and, you know, pooped on someone's desk. You know, he got off to a bad start, and I think some of the people, there was a whole, well, we all know there's a whole faction of people who didn't want him there.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, yeah, man, it's been an unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
I think football teams will always need great, you know, coaches to coach up talent. I don't know if those guys are head coaches anymore. You know, head coaches really of big, you know, SEC teams it feels like more of a CEO position to me now.
I agree. I think it's changed. Yeah. And I think Harson is an old school coach. He's the guy. I know he's the guy with the whistle around his neck out there calling people, getting after people on the football field. I think he's an old school coach.
Totally. That would have been awesome in the 80s.
Exactly. I was saying that earlier. I think he would be great in the 80s. But right now,
he would have been a great 80s
But
coach.
this ain't the 80s, man. It's just different.
No, and I'll be really interested to see where Auburn goes with an AD. I'll be interested to see how much of an influence Bruce has on that. I mean, if I'm Dr. Roberts, I'm going to Bruce Pearl and saying, what do you think, man? Like, how do we recruit players?
Yeah, we need answers. On to Victory is going to be helping with that, and I think that they've really got their shit together now. I mean, finally, Auburn's got the NIL game coming together, but it's not going to be it may not be in time for Harson to benefit from it. I don't know if Harson could benefit from it anyway. I don't know.
No, he would have to have he'd have to be a different person. He's not going to be a different person. He's not that kind of guy who's just going to switch things up. And well, cool, man. It's good talking to you.
Hey, man, I know it's your first call. We're glad to have you, man.
Yeah. I'll see you guys around.
All right, brother. See you, man.
See you.
There he is, Weagle 1492. Absolutely great call. Loved it. Pocket Watch says July 1st, 2021 was 422 days ago. Who's counting? Certainly not Pocket Watch. That was an interesting anecdote, though, when that guy was like, the world has changed, and I don't think at this point, I almost think that anything that occurred before then doesn't matter. And, when I first heard that, I was like, well, that just seems so arbitrary. But, the more I think about it, like, it is just so incredibly different now. I mean, you're paying players now. Not only are you paying players, you have to. Like, you have to be good at it. It's crazy. And I think Brett Whiteside, who's the executive director of On to Victory now, I think he's going to be great at it. I mean, he's been here so long, and he knows what time it is here, so to speak, and he's going to be great. And he's going to help guide these people who are behind that in the right direction. And they're going to be transparent about it, and I think they're going to be effective. Auburn's just really late to this game. But it's not too late to fix some of this shit. I mean, you can get some of these guys back. Like Joshua Horton. Dudes like that. You can get them back. It ain't over. Thank you, Pocket Watch. I appreciate your support, yo. Kanuman was trying to push for a 1 a.m. tonight. I think he's just doing that for fun, but I don't think we're going to make it to 1 a.m., guys. CDF with another super chat. Unbelievable tonight, man. And every night, but tonight in particular. Hope Bammer experiences an FSU post-basketball-like run after Saber strokes out. I wonder who the next coach is going to be at Alabama. Although Saban just signed a new deal. He extended his deal. Crocky Poo says Henry is a boss. I'm fired up, man. I'm glad that you like Henry. Henry's such an interesting person. I'm so glad that he's on our team. And I think he's got some real potential because he really gives a shit about basketball, as do I. We now have AU Storm 20 on the line. What's up, bro?
JG, how's it going, man?
Well, it's going great. I'm glad to have you on the horn tonight.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to talk to you. Good to hear from you. Nice to hear your voice, man. When I saw the YouTube live pop up, a little joy came into my heart.
That's what I like to hear, man.
It's good to have this dream.
You're one of our most rational, thoughtful callers, and that's why I love having you on the air.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I try to live life with a little rationality. I feel like it's very hard to do so these days, but
it is.
It keeps you logical, it keeps you sane. So it's hard, but I try to look at things a little different than most people, or try to keep calm about stuff. But it's hard to do so these days, honestly.
Yeah, I know. We live in a fractious society. As we say in horse racing, fractious. Everybody wants to fight and jump around and jostle.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get into too much of what you probably already talked about tonight, but, it's just Auburn just never ceases to amaze us, does it? It always keeps you busy, always keeps you on your toes. I mean, could you imagine working anywhere else where you don't have the drama and the stuff going on that, like, I mean, you're never bored. It's unreal.
Yeah, Auburn's a great beat, man. There's always some shit going on. And I think this is going to be one of the most insane seasons of football we've ever seen at Auburn. I'm serious. This could be – I thought we would never eclipse some of the stuff we've seen before, but I think this might do
it. I was watching game day this morning, unfortunately. That might be my last time watching college game day. And they were talking about Auburn and Harson. And, the national perspective of Auburn right now is awful. Of course, you got the ADs, tweeting, the whites tweeting about it. And, everyone thinks that Auburn ran Alan Greene off and that we're going to go in the gutter for it. And it could happen. I mean, who knows? But I think we all know that he's been following the situation for a long time. But that may not be the case. There's a lot more behind than just looking at it from a 30 to 40,000 foot view. But I don't know. It's frustrating to hear other people talk about it. They don't know, the situation or what's been going on the past couple of years. And I think it is going to be a wild season. But you know what? If we go into Penn State and we beat Penn State, then this season could flip on its head, and we're on top of the world, and recruits are coming in and maybe get commits. So who knows after that game what it could be? It could go really bad or it can go really well. I'm hanging the whole season on that game, honestly.
Really, the whole season on? You think Penn State is like? I'm not saying it's the most important game of the year. I know you're not saying that, but you're saying it's at a critical time, right?
It's a very critical time. If we come out and we take care of business the first two games, that's all eyes are on that game. All recruits are going to be watching that game. I just think in terms of momentum and in terms of setting the season on a path, that it hangs on that game. If we go out and we just absolutely lay an egg and we're terrible, then Harson is, he could be toast. If it's, I don't know. I put a lot on that game, and the feeling around here and around people who I talk to also feel like that's a huge, huge game for a lot of different reasons. If we keep it close and barely lose, and that's a different story. But if we come out and lay an absolute egg, which could happen, then I think we're in a bad spot.
Yeah, that might do it too. Honestly, I think it's that close. I think he's walking on a razor's edge. I really do. Yeah, but the question is, AU Storm 20, who pulls the trigger though now? If let's say they lost a couple games and it's time to go, who's going to pull the trigger? There's no AD. Is Marcy going to do it? Is the president going to do it? I don't know.
That's a great question.
I don't know.
It is interesting. It's an interesting time to. Who knows who's making the shots? It's probably the president, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't take crap.
He would at least be the figurehead. But they're trying to get these blocks, kind of BLOC, trying to get these blocks put back together, to try to get them pushing in the same direction, which has not been going on much lately. So, yeah, that's really the big push. Look, man, I know Auburn looks bad on the national spotlight. It seems like Auburn always looks bad on the national spotlight. I'm bored with it. It doesn't even affect me anymore. Auburn's just doing things the way Auburn does it, and Auburn was going to get out of this problem. Auburn's going to get out of this. Auburn gets out of this every fucking time. It might take a little bit longer than we like, but if it's not Harson, they're going to hire somebody good, and they'll get out of it very quickly. Just because Auburn's a great place. They've got all the resources. But
it could be Nebraska, right?
Don't you do that now. God dang it. Come on now.
Sorry.
How dare you? Auburn's not Nebraska.
Hey, I honestly, I do feel bad for Nebraska. I really do.
Man, those fans are so passionate, dude.
So I go to Nebraska. I actually go to Lincoln a lot for work, and that it's honestly a really cool place. And the people there, they don't have anything to do but cheer for their Big Red. And they've just been so bad, and yet they still go to every single game. They 60,000 of them go to Dublin, Ireland, and it's just, and they know they're bad. They know it, and they know that they're going to get let down, but yet they still are so passionate. I feel bad for them. I really do.
You know, we sit here. First of all, I agree with what you're saying. That, you know, Nebraska. What the hell else are you going to do in Nebraska? But you know, I bet they look at us that way, right?
Oh, I say that. I say that in my life all the time. I'm like, all these places I go to for work, whenever I travel, and I say I'm from Auburn, Alabama. They're like, "Oh, cool. Like, what do y'all do there?" And I'm like, "Well, we got football, and Atlanta's kind of close. The beach is kind of close. I mean, it's not a bad place." But I know, you know, for people who are in the bigger cities, are like, wow, you know, this country hick dude is from Alabama. You know, what is there to do there? So I get it, and that's why I feel like Lincoln has a lot. Like, I mean, besides that, the fact that it's Lincoln, it's a little different. It's a capital city, but it's got a lot of similarities between Auburn. Like, they love in Alabama, they love their football. There's not a lot to do there, but you know, so it's home. So
yeah, it's home.
What can you do?
Well, they're gonna lose, is what they're gonna do. I mean, I'm just being real about it. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, good talk to you, JG.
Hey, man, thank you for taking time to call in, brother.
Hey, anytime.
Hopefully we'll get you a bunch.
The show, man.
Yeah, I hope you call in a bunch this season because we're going to need it.
We'll see. I don't know how rational I could be for too long, but
I know.
But I'll do my best, man.
All right, brother. We'll see you, man.
All right, take care.
Be good. There he is, AU Storm 20. A great caller. A tremendous caller. And, yeah. Hawaii is now up on Vanderbilt 7-0. And, yeah, I think everybody's – we start talking about Dole Whips in the chat. I don't know why. I love Dole Whips. Mobile Lump super chatted earlier. I had it up for a minute. She said, speaking of raising money, we need to raise some money for Stultz to get a nurse costume. No, to get a nurse in costume. Yeah, we don't want him to wear a nurse costume. We want to get him a nurse. Stultzy's an intriguing cat. I think he'd be more of a Princess Leia person myself, but a nurse would be fine too. Yeah, I think that would be fine. He's also, as you know, Mobile alum. He has ranted about slutty nurses. He particularly hates them on Halloween for some reason. I happen to love slutty nurses most on Halloween, so I really don't understand this. Sterling super chatted as well. Jay, any guesses on AD candidates? I was saying earlier, I think this spot, more so than the football coach, I think is going to need to be somebody that has some tie to Auburn. And I know that gives some of y'all a headache, and you say, why does it always have to be an Auburn person? But to me, the AD job at Auburn is going to have to be a labor of love a little bit, and I think it needs to be someone with an Auburn tie. So it can be someone who went to Auburn. It can be someone who worked at Auburn. It can be someone who has been aligned with Auburn. I don't know what that would mean. I mean, Scott Strickland would be a great choice. He's kind of been aligned. He worked here, though, to be fair. I was thinking about him as aligning because he and Jay kind of worked out that deal back years ago about the cowbells. Jay ended up supporting Mississippi State in their push for cowbell legality when Scott was at Mississippi State. But Scott actually worked here, so that would be different. I think it's got to be someone with Auburn ties. So that kind of narrows it down a little bit, Sterling. So you're looking at like Whit Babcock, who worked here in the 90s, 2000s, who's now the AD at Virginia Tech. Scotty Carr, who's AD at FIU. Used to be a deputy here. I think he was definitely under Jay, and he may have been under AG too. Great guy. I'm sorry, I'm just babbling. Hold on, MWD's calling in, and we love MWD being on here. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's great to see you. You're going to be our tallest caller of the night.
I do sound a bit taller over the radio.
Oh, you sounded much taller on radio. A little Smokey the Bandit there, huh?
Yeah. You know, Jay, to be honest with you, I think it was when Jay agreed to allow the cowbells that was like the last straw with me for him.
Really? That was the last straw?
I don't remember what order they came in. There were lots of straws that were last. But
I kind of thought that was cool, man. I did. But I like Scott Strickland a lot, so like he kind of talked me into it. I don't know.
You've been to games over there, hadn't you?
What now?
You've been to games over there, haven't you?
At Florida?
No, at Mississippi State.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, I've been to Auburn games over there.
Yeah. I mean, God, those things are annoying. But maybe it was just the year they had Dak Prescott and they were actually good. They were like, you know, a little extra louder. So
Yeah, it's a fun place to go. It's just, but you look when you go over there, and you know what I'm talking about here, bro. You look at it and you think, my God, that's a shitty school. Like it just looks run down and old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The basketball arena is a joke.
You know, the only time I went was the 3-2 game. That's like, I mean, Starkville's bad enough, but for that to be the only time you went.
What if they had lost that game 0-2?
So we would have been fired a few weeks earlier. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know why.
I remember leaving that game. Yeah, I remember leaving that game and walking out and talking to a Mississippi State fan, and nobody was excited. Everybody was just kind of sedate. It was like, what the hell did we just watch? And I remember looking at him, and I said, that kind of feels like the kind of game you go to where you think both coaches are going to get fired at the end of the year. And he goes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
It was a mess, man. I didn't realize watching the game how shitty it was. I don't know. I'm just busy like taking pictures and stuff, you know.
Well, you know, the funny part is they didn't even get their own safety. It was a holding call on Lee Zimba.
Well, yeah. I don't remember that, but Lee was more of a false start guy than a hold guy, but you know.
Or sorry, it may not have been. What was the one? It may have been Chaz Ramsey, but it was one of the.
Well, no, let's just blame it on Lee. Fuck it. Well, Lee can take it. He's cool.
Yeah. So what's going on tonight? Kind of a slow news week.
Well, we're drinking bourbon and we're talking shit, and we're trying to figure out how bad Auburn's going to be this year, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my stance on that's been pretty well known in the bunker.
Do you think it's going to be a miserable year?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's my expectation.
But you're a pretty rational guy in general. What got you? What turned the tide for you? Like, because I know you want Auburn to be good. Like, what freaks you out the most?
Being rational.
You're just looking at this team going, I don't see it.
There still is a lot of talent. I just don't know that there's enough talent in some of the right places.
Hey, Chip notes very quickly, MWD. It was Danny Lindsay that had the holding call in the end zone. So,
really?
How about that?
One of my buddies was his roommate at Auburn. So
Danny Lindsay's he's a good dude, isn't he? He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The quarterback stuff, but even let's say Calzada had come out and been an absolute world beater in practice and locked down the job. I don't know that it changes to me. And I've had a little more reason for optimism, but the key concern to me is still the offensive line.
Oh, well, hell yeah.
We're going to have to be a run-first team, and you said this a couple weeks ago, I think on a rundown. I haven't seen – one of the guys did. I haven't seen an Auburn offensive lineman move a guy 3 yards off the ball in like 5 years.
Well, not since Braden's been here, right?
Yeah, that's what you said. You said Braden, yeah.
Yeah, Braden.
I remember it.
Braden's a fucking badass.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the last like, you know, I played in the late 90s. Like that's the last old school offensive lineman that just plowed people over. I try not to be too judgmental because I know the game's changed, and you know, you still want your offensive line to be strong, but it's more of a finesse thing than it used to be. But in the SEC, there just gets to be times you got to win the game in the trenches, and you got to do that by blowing people off the ball. And for whatever reason, Gus and JB, the valve got shut on getting those kind of linemen, and I was hoping the next coach would make that a priority. Obviously, Cristobal would have, but I mean, I'm sure Brian Harson would love to have, you know, all the world's best offensive linemen, but they've stuck with this group for whatever reason, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and you think Braden Smith was such a backdoor deal too? Like they just kind of backed into him. Like yeah, and he ends up being the best lineman they've had in 10 years, right?
Where was he from?
He was from Olathe, Kansas.
Midwestern. So he's kind of off the radar of the Alabamas, Georgias, LSU's of the world. He's one of the guys that, you know, Nebraska would have signed 30 years ago, but
he loves gardening. No, I'm fucking serious. I mean, that's his passion. I'm telling you.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he loves gardening.
We had some interesting characters on the offensive line. I mean, one of them was was it Avery Young that was like a concert pianist?
I don't remember that.
One of them. It may not have been him, but it was one of them.
Avery Young was a fucking cool dude. I'll tell you that, man. He was awesome.
They were all cool.
But Braden's one of my all-time favorites, and he's married to Courtney, the softball player. Yeah. He did good.
Oh, really?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, the softball player? I can't remember her last name now. How can I not remember her last name?
I remember now.
Courtney Shea.
But you know that interview he did with the newspaper in Indianapolis where he was like, "Oh, all the coaches told me that I don't know anything about playing offensive line." That just killed Auburn's offensive line recruiting with Gus and JB.
Yeah. Listen, man.
Jonah
Williams. You know who I'm talking about? Jonah Williams played at Alabama.
Yeah.
JB didn't like him.
Yeah.
JB didn't think he had it.
There were several that JB did like that Gus vetoed, right?
I don't know, man. I just try to fucking expunge all that shit from my head, bro, and just move on, you know?
Bottom line is those guys are gone, and we're still not, bringing in better offensive linemen yet. So.
Not yet. And that's really that's when you know shit's turning, right? When Auburn's getting offensive linemen, like good ones. That's when you know things are changing in the recruiting world, and it's just not happening right now.
I mean, you remember when that happened when Tuberville and company came in. I mean, they went out and got some offensive linemen. We had some dudes.
Marcus McNeil.
I mean, we had Geno James, and I guess Kendall Simmons was already here, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like on the whole, that's what killed Terry Bowden was the offensive lineman couldn't run block.
Yeah. Marcus McNeil was a stud. Tyrone Greene.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got some fucking guys, man. You're right. Ben Grubbs.
And I think they got some guys that were 3-star other positions, and they moved them around. I mean, they did all kinds of stuff like that those early years.
Ben Grubbs was a fullback to start with.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Now, and he had the longest, other than maybe Marcus, he had the longest NFL career of any of them.
Yeah, he was a stud. Played for the Saints forever.
Yeah. So what about this AD search?
Yeah.
I just remember brain drain, so I hadn't been on the whole time.
I think it's going to get going here pretty quick, and I think just talking to some folks today, I think it's going to be somebody with an Auburn tie on that one. I don't think the coach has to be that way, but I think the AD does, and they got to skedaddle. I think they got to get moving.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, I was always the guy that said, "Oh, hire a real professional." Whatever. Everything's changed in the last year and a half, 2 years, and I totally agree with you. It's kind of the right move to go with an Auburn person. Because we got to get everybody back on the same page again before we start moving in the right direction.
It's got to be somebody who can come in and at least have credibility with all three blocks of people. And the only way you're going to get that is somebody who's been here and knows Auburn. I'm really hoping Michelle is the one, but I don't know. I don't know what her relationship is like with the block. I don't know. Michelle McKenna is what I'm talking about.
I tend to like Auburn accounting alumni from Enterprise because I am one, but.
Bro, I play Warzone. One of our great super chatters and also a great bunker member is from Enterprise. He's about your age, but I don't want to say who it is. But he's always telling me about Enterprise too. So I need to get you hooked up with him.
Well, you had my brother's college roommate, Sir Will Collier, on last week. So.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dude, Will's a stud, man. He's from down that way too. He lives in Dothan.
Yeah, I've known him. Wait, he lives in Dothan?
I think currently he lives in the Wiregrass area, doesn't he? Or no, he lives. He claims to be from the Wiregrass area. He lives in Atlanta. My bad. You're right.
Yeah, he's from Enterprise. Yeah.
My bad. That's
but
on.
Anyway,
that's on me.
I mean, I don't know a lot about most of the names I've seen for the athletic director candidates. I think could all be successful. It's really just knowing how to corral the three blocks, like you said, and get them all going in the same direction.
Yeah. That's the key. And once you get that done, you're good. I mean, Auburn's got it. Auburn's got money. Auburn's got great support. Auburn's got tradition and heritage. Like, just get it together. Put it in gear. Put the car in gear and let's go,
I think we may have to well, I know Rich McGlynn's name. It's been thrown around a little bit. He's been the compliance director for 12 years now since NCAA, right?
Yeah, him and Dave Didion, yeah.
Yeah. I kind of wonder about that just because, you always hear these things about, Auburn's too extreme on compliance and that's what's holding them back and stuff like that. Of course, he may have a completely different hat if he's in the athletic director role.
Yeah, I just think he has some enemies, whether that's justified or not. I mean, because he's a hard-edged person, and I think some people go, well, Rich thinks he knows everything. And, I mean, that's kind of Rich's job is to be an authority on something, I don't know.
But I think we need somebody that's. I mean, I'm not the one making the hire, but we need somebody that's going to be more of a little bit more political of a face, more of a facilitator. You've seen a lot of athletic directors at SEC schools, and in the position Auburn's in now, I think it's sort of akin to, having somebody that understands Auburn, that hasn't lived in a box within Auburn, and has exposure to different groups and everything like that. So we'll see.
We'll just got to hope.
The timing of it, to me, it's obvious. It's you're making this move now as opposed to waiting till December to, in case you have to have a coaching search.
Yeah. Well, I would say there's a decent chance of that happening, MWD.
You said, I think you threw out 60%.
Yeah.
It's just a dartboard, but that sounds about right to me.
It's probably higher than that, but, we'll see. I'm trying to be fair.
So how the season plays out, there's a real possibility that they start 4-1 or 5-0.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But I think if they can't, I told you this a couple weeks ago, if they can't run the ball and move the chains on offense, I guess they theoretically could do it through the air, but I think everybody thinks it's going to have to be on the ground predominantly.
No doubt.
If they get in a position where they're winning these games with the defense on the field 70% of the time, it starts to look a lot like 2008.
That's what I was saying, yeah. 2008 is the year that I think is most likely what we're going to see, right? A team that had a very good defense, an offense that just didn't get it done and caused problems.
I forgot. I went back and looked. I forgot. That team started out, what was it, 4-1 or 5-1?
Shit, I can't remember that stuff.
But they were a minute away from beating LSU. That would have taken them to 5-0 and number 6 in the nation, and going into that Vanderbilt game.
Wow.
And that's how good they were, and nobody ever remembers that. So, talk about a hot start. They had a very hot start, but they completely fell apart because that, all-pro level defense all of a sudden collapsed because they've been on the field 70% of the snaps in September.
This is we're talking about 08, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I pulled it up. So they beat Monroe, they beat Southern Miss, they beat Mississippi State 3-2, and then they lost to LSU as is customary, 21-26. Beat Tennessee, so they're 4-1, and you're thinking not too bad. And they lose at Vanderbilt with the quarterback that ended up being pretty good. What's his name? Sourpuss.
It wasn't Palmer.
No, it was the limp dick guy.
Somebody else.
The guy who was banging Kristen Calaveri.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler.
I think that was after Cutler.
Well, whatever. They lost to Vanderbilt, and then they lost to Arkansas, at West Virginia, and then at Ole Miss. Fuck.
The only game they won after that was the directional game.
Yeah.
They didn't. Franklin was fired right after the Vanderbilt game, and it's like the whole team went into lame duck mode.
Hey, man, that game in West Virginia had the longest drive in Auburn history, though. I think it was 20 plays.
Yeah.
And that was the game where Tubb wore the wrong color orange. Remember he was wearing the Texas orange?
Yep.
That was fucked up. Yeah.
My brother and dad went to that game. My dad said he would never go back to a game in West Virginia.
Dude, I'll never go there again. Those people are insane, and their stadium sucks, and it's in a hole. It's in a hole. I'm serious. It's in a hole. You have to climb down to get into the stadium. You have to climb down.
My brother lived sort of just across the West Virginia state line in Maryland, and so they all went. I was supposed to go, and I got busy at work or something. I was like, no, I'll pass, and it was just a miserable experience, apparently.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I'm not optimistic about the season, but I also know there is that one bit of me that says, well, that tends to be when Auburn's at their best. But those teams that defied expectations had a lot of talent, particularly in the trenches.
Yeah.
And this one has it on defense, but yeah. I just don't see it on offense.
Yeah, you're wondering about it on offense. Yeah. Bro, listen, man.
Learn more next week.
You had an incredible call preseason last year. That was the Sin Caves call, and you had an epic one this year as well. So we're glad to have you.
Well, I was still, a year ago was I can't remember if it was my third or fourth COVID. I guess it was the third one, but I was still dealing with that. And
were you in Key West, or were you telling a story about Key West?
No, I was in Key West, and everybody started talking about the Sin Caves. I was in Key West a year ago, so I'd just gotten over the COVID where I could travel again, and went down there with some friends, and that I think I'd had a few margaritas when I called in, but it just started in the chat about the Sin Caves, and I guess it was the thing.
It was perfect. All right, MBD, thanks for calling in, brother.
Yeah, have a good one.
See you, man. Bye. We got some incredible super chats. Chris H. right there said for 2 fingers of the Colonel E.H. Taylor, which my man earlier was trying to say that my shit was empty, but it was not. Chris would never know. He knew better than that, but it was somebody else that was trying to say that I just had this and I didn't have anything in it, but I do have like a 3/4 full bottle. Thank you for that super chat. Also, Patrick D. Doing Patrick D. things. You know him on the bunker as Why Not AU. God dang it. Here it is. Little super chat action right there. 8 to 9 wins. Is that what you're seeing, bro? Is that really what you're seeing on this? Like, for real? That surprises me. I mean, not that you're negative on Auburn. You're not. You're definitely not. But, I mean, I feel like if you're looking at if you're looking at this team like on paper, I don't know about 8 wins, man. I don't know. Mobile alum says, Jay, who is not Andy on the Auburn network? That is actually Brad Law. He's not Andy because he's not Andy. I had a beef with him for a long, long time, and we ended up burying the hatchet because he called me one time. It's been about 2 years now, something like that. And, I had a chance to get a redress of grievances on that, and I spoke my truth, and he... Golly, I don't know the specific details of that particular conversation. I was sitting right here when I had the call, but I think he kind of acknowledged that it was kind of dumb. What he did was kind of dumb, but not like really dumb. I was probably just being a bitch about it, honestly. But anyway, one thing led to another. We're good now, and I just call him not Andy because I feel like that's just kind of what I call him. But it's Brad Law, and it's weird because. I mean, I buried the hatchet with him, so I don't have a problem with him, and I love Andy. I mean, I've told you guys before, and I've told Andy this too. I'm sorry, I'm getting off center. Andy's the best basketball play-by-play guy in the history of the world. I'm telling you, he's so good. He's my favorite listening to him. So it's like I love Andy, and then it's like with Brad, I'm kind of like, but I mean, I don't know, man. We're good. We're really good. By the way, Pipe, aka Pipe Layer Nick, is in the chat. Pipe, me and Pipe, again, we reunited in June in Punta Cana. And, my man Jordan is in the house. What the fuck? I didn't know Jordan was going to be here. Look at this. He says Pipe is trying to decide between spending $20 on a super chat or buying more pictures on OnlyFans. Tough call. Hey, for real. So, Pipe up here, if you guys see Pipe Layer Nick, he joined us on our trip to Punta Cana in June. So I went with, I don't know, Pipe, was it 8? I think there were 8 or 10 of us in our group, and then your group had 4. It was Pipe and Jordan and then their wives. And we had a hell of a time, man. And Jordan and Pipe, actually both of them, made me laugh so hard that I cried and almost threw up from laughing. Like, have you ever laughed that hard? Because I did. And I was pretty drunk, yeah, but I don't throw up from drinking. I throw up from laughing. And I laughed so hard that I started coughing. And, man, Pipe and Jordan are really, really funny. I'm really stoked to have you on the show, Jordan. So thanks for spending a little time with us tonight, yo. My man, we love Pipe Layer Nick. And we also love Patrick D for his support, first of all, of the stream, of the site. He threw a fucking party for all of us in Auburn before the Alabama game in basketball last year, the one at Auburn Arena. And he was the DJ for it. And it was a great one. Actually, he got a shout-out the other day on the Brain Train, on the rundown, because his friend You Got Gus was shitting on him, and I thought it was really funny. But, yeah, this guy is he's what the bunker's all about, man. And also, everybody who went to his tailgate at the Penn State game last year, because he had a sweet-ass tailgate at the Penn State game, said it was just off the rails in a good way. So, yeah, Patrick D is, like, just an absolute stud. Unbelievable. What else we got? Patrick D is a fan of Mark Stoops. So he's an excellent football coach. I completely agree. And if it comes to that Auburn is searching, they better call Mark Stoops. You just have to. You have to. To what he's done in Kentucky, you have to. Now, I don't know. He may not want to leave Kentucky. I know Kentucky's not that. Auburn's a better job than Kentucky, but he may just kind of look at himself and say, I probably belong here. Could be that. So I ran out of Journeyman, and then Chris super chatted me and said I need to drink 2 fingers of the E.H. Taylor, which I did, as you guys saw on the stream. And now moving back over to my my backup, which is the Blue Note juke joint store pick from Frisky Whiskey over in LaGrange, Georgia, right across the border. And that's what we'd like to see for reals. Canoeman says it was off the rails in a good way. That's true. It's true. Pocket Watch says the Penn State tailgate was epic. Hey now. I wasn't there, unfortunately. I wish that I had been, because having been to Patrick D's party at Auburn, I know that his parties would be incredible wherever we were. Mobile Alum says, who would you get if we let Harson go, JG? Great question. Jeez. Oh, man, I haven't really put much thought into that, honestly. Now, I would definitely call Stoops. I mean, you have to. I'll talk to Hugh Freeze. I would definitely talk to Hugh Freeze. Those two for sure. Nah, Slavis is Urban. I don't think so, man. I just don't think so. Not feeling it. How about Jeff Brom? What about Bobby Petrino? He's doing a great job at Missouri State, guys. Seriously. I want to make sure that I didn't. I'm so stoked to have Pipe and Jordan in the house. That's unbelievable. You guys were talking about going to Morgantown for the basketball game. Obviously, the Fighting Pearls are going to. Oh, Decatur says Jeff Grimes. That's an interesting one. That's a very interesting one. Kiffin. Thank you. God dang, I can't read that purple. Let's see. Someone said Kiffin. Darkside said Kiffin. Yeah, that's definitely somebody to think about for sure. And, dude, look. He's a great play caller. He's an incredible offensive strategist. And they have done absolutely gangbusters work in the transfer portal at Ole Miss. And he's only going to do better at Auburn on the transfer portal tip. I mean, he's got it. He's got it. He knows what he's doing. So that's someone to think about, too. We got a super chat from Nova 2 as well. Thank you, Nova. Appreciate your support for what we do. I don't recognize that handle, but I hope that we recognize it this whole season. Have you hanging out, bro? Let's see. Pipe says, Pipe's my guy, for real. We met Pipe in Punta Cana, was it a couple years ago now? You and your gal, we'll call her Daphne. And then we were fortunate enough to reconvene with you guys this past summer. It was awesome, man. It was like one of my best memories of the whole year, man. Sitting out there, not in the main pool, but in the back pool, listening to fucking Yacht Rock. And just drinking. It was fucking incredible. Bro, I think we're going to go again in October. You see that idle week for Auburn? October 22. We might be slipping out then. I don't know. Might. Anyway, Pipe says, Jordan and myself will be here next week to provide some intel on Penn State, hopefully after a Boilermaker victory. Obviously, Pipe is a big Purdue fan. I didn't know if Jordan was or not. I don't remember. Let's see. Some people were laughing at me about Hugh Freeze. I mean, is there anyone here who thinks that he's not a good coach? Like, he gets it done. Like, he got it done at Ole Miss. I'm saying he got into some trouble at Ole Miss. It's fair. I'm not ignoring that. You could argue he got in some trouble at Liberty. I'm not ignoring that. Can the guy coach? Can the guy recruit? Yes. Can the guy coach? Yes. Period. Has he done it in the SEC? Yes. He has indeed. Let's see. Caddy Wampus, one of my all-time favorite. Actually, that was Jeffrey's all-time favorite handle on the bunker. Well, of course, we love Jeffrey Lee. Also, I think it's a very cool handle as well. Fire it up. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to give you one of these.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
You know what? I didn't like that one as much, so we're going to give it another one.
If I come in here look swole and big and strong and tough, y'all going to give me that award, right?
Yeah. Caddy Wampus, love you, bro. John H. says, I like Freeze. I do, too. I don't really know him, but I like what he's done. I think he's a hell of a football coach, and I think he understands recruiting, and I think he'll put a group together that will get dudes, period. Canoe Man says he's in love with a stripper. Do we have a soundbite for I'm in love with a stripper? We don't. Okay. Fuck. Well, that sucks. Maybe another time. Let's see. J-Dog says, are we talking about Harson leaving? I'm joining late. No, we're not really there yet. But we kind of talked about some possibilities. And, with the schedule being very homey there in the first 5 games, he's got a chance to get a nice little run. But it is what it is. Oh, man. Patrick Duke's going to get booed for this one. But he says Charles Kelly. There are some people who like Charles Kelly. I think Charles Kelly is a good football coach. I don't know that he's a good head coach. I don't think anyone on earth, including Charles Kelly and his wife, know if he's a great head coach. We don't know that. Chip says, hey, Pipe Layer Nick, hit up JGT. I hear he has connections. I don't even know what that's about, but it's funny to me. William Stovall says, JG asking the tough question. In your opinion, did Harson get a fair shake at the head coaching position at Auburn? Honestly. Boy, that's a tough one. There has been some things that have occurred that have been bullshit. I've told him this to his face. I think he's had to overcome some stuff that he should not have overcome. At the same time, I think he could have done more to try to grease the wheels, and he hasn't done it. I don't want to give him too much hell because if I was in his position, I don't know that I would be able to do it. I don't know if I'd be able to genuflect before people that I felt like probably had something to do with trying to take me down for some bullshit that didn't happen. I'd have a hard time with that. I'm being honest with you guys. But, as I said before, play automobile. I don't want to get slapped with a copyright infringement, bro. I did that with Dolly Parton for the LSU game last year, and let me tell you something, it hurt. I'm still feeling the sting of that one, bro. But Automobile is a great song. He's talking about Automobile by NWA after Ice Cube left. But we'll both go home in my automobile. You know what I'm talking about, Hornatius. There he is right there. Play Automobile. I would, man, but I'll get in trouble. Corey Dubb, I have a feeling there's something to this. He says, we've all been in love with a stripper at one point or another. I feel like there's something to that, Corey. Okay, it has something to do with me. I hooked up with a chick who ended up being a stripper. She was not a stripper at the time. The end. Actually, Decatur Tiger asked a great question. This is a great question. Will you get hit with a copyright for playing Cliff Ellis and Groovy Situation LMAO? Yes, I have done it, and I did. It's very disappointing. I thought that would be so, totally off the beaten path that I'd be fine, and I still wasn't. They still hit me, man. Digital Tiger says Urban, talking about potential candidates for the next spot. Come on now, Urban Meyer. Come on, man. Is Urban Meyer really going to coach again? At this point, really? Let's see. How old is this guy? Urban Meyer is currently 58. It's not that old, really. He has a book out, though. It's called Above the Line. Above the Line. Is that really the fucking name of it? Above the Line. Lessons in Leadership and Life from a Championship Season. It's called Above the Line. when he was going for like an oil check before. Remember that? Y'all remember that? The hell, man. I can't do that. Darkside says JG turned her into a stripper. I don't think so, man, but that would be a good little story right there. J-Dog says Sean Payton? Could. Maybe he wants to come to Auburn, right? Maybe. Zachary says Del McGee. Interesting. Del McGee obviously has Auburn ties. He has been very good in the SEC. He understands certainly the value of recruiting, but we don't know if he's a good head coach or not. I don't know. Slava Boyko says Nick Saban was 56 when he got hired at UAT. Urban is 58. Saban didn't really have any scandals in his history at that point. I mean, he kind of sucked as the Dolphins head coach, but that's not a scandal. Urban Meyer's had some scandals for sure. I mean, oil checking or whatever. He literally has a story about what did I say his name of the book was? It was called Above the Line? Like, really? Sheesh. What a terrible name. I'll Be Travel says good evening. Hey, guys. What's up? Welcome to the show. Here, I can start up. I might have taken that off here, actually, because I got slapped so hard on that. It was terrible. I can do a Roy D. Mercer, though.
And how big a boy are you?
Well, it don't make no difference. Just bring her on down. You're tough as hell on this phone.
I love it, man. MWD reminds us that Mackenzie Adams, I on the end there, was the Vanderbilt quarterback that beat Auburn in 2008. He came off the bench after the starter was injured. Auburn lost to a backup Vandy quarterback. Fuck, I got to think back. Is 2008, that was the Tony Franklin year, right? Bro, I had a conversation. Tony Franklin, I was out there shooting on field level in that game. And before the game started, I mean, when you're on field level, you're kind of down there to start with, and you stay out down there the whole game. And so I get out there on the field before the game, and fucking Tony Franklin's out there, and he's sitting on the Auburn bench. And he's reading a fucking magazine. Like, he's reading like People. Like, it's not even like Football Coaching Weekly. It's like People or like Tiger Beat or something, And I go, hey, man, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm reading a magazine. I was like, shouldn't you be in the locker room? He goes, well, we've been talking about that shit all week, so I don't really feel like I got to tell him that. I was like, word? All right. Because I like Tony Franklin. I mean, he's a cool guy. And that was it. That was the end of the Tony Franklin experience, as Chip noted. Really, truly one of the oddest situations. Because if you remember a couple weeks before that, like we had an interview with Tony Franklin. He was like, hell yeah, I'd boo me. I'd be pissed as hell if I was a coach right now. I'd be like, yeah, well, they are. They're pissed. It was such a weird deal. But he's a good coach, though, for real. Like, he's a cool guy. You guys would love hanging out with him. You guys would love hanging out with him. You guys would love drinking with him. You would love telling stories with him. Like, he's the kind of guy you want on your team. Like, I got nothing bad to say about Tony Franklin. But I don't think he was the right guy to be coaching with Tubb. Like back then, I think that kind of got thrown on him. By the way, so we finished the Journeyman earlier. We did not start with a full bottle, but we did finish it. I don't know if y'all can see that. That bad boy's gone. I do have another one up in the closet downstairs. And then I hit some of the Colonel E.H. Taylor because Chris, he wanted that to happen. And then I've now finished off my backup, my Blue Note. So, I mean, I don't know. I've probably taken in good, god dang. I'd say a good 20 ounces tonight, yo. Not bad. J-Dog says he would like to see Dave Aranda here. He's pretty damn good. J-Dog says he'd like Matt Rule. Are you just throwing out names right now? Let's see. Mobile Alum's pretty fired up about something Kanuman says. That reminds me, let my subscription of Football Coaches Weekly lapse. Man, he was reading People or Tiger Beat. It wasn't like Football Coaches Weekly. That's like this stuff that I pulled on Neil, man. I was like, yeah, I was on OxfordRumors.com. He's like, yeah, man. Ed D. Oh, my God, Ed D. What's up, bro? I'm so glad to see you back. He says, learn a lesson from the EZ. Stay in your place and don't step the real Compton City G's. I'm going to tell the story again. I've told it before. But when Auburn was playing Florida State out there in Pasadena on January 1st of 2014, I went to Whittier, California, which is a long way from where me and Hoke were staying at the time. But Hoke was working with us at auburnsports.com at that time. Went to Whittier, California, which is like 30 miles away, to visit Eazy-E's grave, which was not where they said it was going to be, but I knew that ahead of time because I'd already checked it out on the internet, and I found it, and I sat down there on January 1st, and it was there. Anyway, I sat down there, and I spoke my piece to Eazy-E because I'm telling you guys, I grew up idolizing the guy. I had a conversation with him. He didn't really say much back, but I spoke my piece. I left the 40. I took off. His gravestone says, Eric Wright, here lies Eric Wright or whatever. It says, we loved him a lot, but God loved him more. That probably ought to be on my headstone too, assuming that somebody loves me a lot. I think administrative assistant does, honestly. But I was there. I have pictures. D, man, easy, bud. D in Atlanta's texted me too. We love him. He's one of the all-time greats. Yeah, let's see. Albie Treble says NYE with Easy. Yeah, you're right, man. J-Dog says, do you think Kiffin would leave Ole Miss for Auburn? I don't want to get into too much trouble with my friends that are on the Rebel Groves, but yes, I think he would. I do. I mean, dude, guys, we'll sit here. Those of us who have been covering Auburn or at Auburn a long time, you guys who are graduates, you guys have been Auburn sympathists, you guys who are Auburn fans, whatever. We can all make fun of Auburn, this, that, and the other thing. But, I mean, the bottom line is we know Auburn's badass. We know Auburn's really good. Auburn is not necessarily good at this moment, but Auburn's going to be good. Auburn's got the heritage. Auburn's got the fans. Auburn's got the money. There are so many successful Auburn graduates out there. Like, Auburn's going to be good. It's just a matter of getting all the shit put together in the right way and have it point in the same direction. The end. That's it. Pocket Watch says you will have the Commodore and then in little letters of a website on your headstone, right? You reminded me of the Auburn just beat Georgia State. Yeah. I don't know what's going to be on my headstone, bro. That's a great question. It's getting a little dark, though. I don't mean to. It's getting like Lifetime around here. Let's see. Mobile Alum says, you said Kiffin would crawl over glass to get here. Did I? Did I? I mean, I think he would, but I don't want to disrespect my friends that are over on the Ole Miss side. I do think Auburn's a better job than Ole Miss. I honestly believe that. Although I love Ole Miss. I mean, it's a great school. It's a good football program. Their fans are incredible. The Grove is an incredible place full of hot hotties, super hot chicks, and it's a great party atmosphere. It's the best, in my opinion. But I think Auburn's a better job. Well, I have good news, guys. I don't have any more. Well, I say I don't have any more bourbon to drink. I could get in this redemption, but I probably shouldn't really. Administrative assistant says she thinks I've been drinking a little bit. Whatever, man. You guys, I got something from JB DC Elite was trying to get me going here. Mobile Alum says, yes, you did. You said he called asking for the job. Wait a minute. Are you fucking with me? I said that? Pocket Watch, you're right, bro. Pocket Watch says redemption it is. I usually only drink this during Raiders games, but I'll drink a little pour here. It's all good. Hornation says, drink, nerd. Why don't you drink? I got something funny to tell you, though, bro. So I'm in Birmingham on Friday. I'm meeting with one of my homies, and he's a bunker guy, and he knows that I've been shitting on Treeps all this time. As you know, you're a Treep driver yourself, and he pulls up in a fucking Treep, No, I'm serious. He did. This guy, I mean, I don't even know what he's talking about. So he pulls up in a Treep, and I go, "You got to be shitting me." And he goes, "I know you would say that because you've been giving Hornatius so much trouble about it, but I didn't want to tell you." It goes to show you, man, like, you know, you feel like you know somebody, and then it reminds me of the song "The Freaks Come Out at Night." You think you know someone, and then they end up being a total freak. Sterling says, "Get J-Head on the phone." I love me some J-Head. I was texting with him earlier today, but I don't really want to ask him to be on the horn at 10:30. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Hobby travel, although it's nothing about J-Head. Let's see. I got a big laugh out of Love the Cats on that one. He seriously was like, "I've seen how much shit you give Hornatius. I don't want to say anything about it." Let's see. Darkside says, "Where's Denton? Has he clapped cheeks yet?" Wait, what? Clapped cheeks? I don't think so. I don't think Denton has done that. I keep trying to tell him, like, over the college that he goes to, I'm like, "You need to, you know, hook up with some chicks or whatever." And he's like, "I don't know, man." Yeah, I know. You need to go ahead and do that. Hornatius says, "Don't you drive a Camry or some shit?" I do not drive a Camry. Not since that deer ran into my car. I now drive a Hyundai, and it's made in Montgomery, so don't even start, bro. Yeah, Pocket Watch says, "Hornatius, how was the softball tournament?" Hornatius had a thread on the bunker earlier saying that he had gone to a softball tournament and shit got real crooked and crossways in a hurry. Chip says, "J-Head has been in bed for about 6 hours. He gets up at 4 a.m., I think." Although I don't know why I'm laughing at that. Like, that's true. I think J-Head is he's an early riser, I think. Sometimes I get texts from J-Head early in the morning. Very early before I get up. Yeah. Pocket Watch says 10:30 is exactly when you want to ask someone to be on the horn. Yeah, it depends, man. It depends on who you're calling, I guess. Ravine is cheering. He says 1 a.m. He wants us to go to 1. There is no way I'm going to get to 1 a.m., Ravine. Absolutely no way. Solo Tigre, who we didn't even know was still here, but we're glad you are, says, "At least you don't drive a teen girl car like a RAV4? Wait, what? Teen girl? I don't feel like that's a teen girl. John says, "You're sponsored by Toyota and you drive a Hyundai?" I have an answer to that question. First of all, I drove back-to-back Toyota Camry hybrids. I had a white one that I loved that I bought from Lynch. Absolutely loved that car. My daughter totaled it on the interstate. And I told my wife she was going to do it, and then my wife told me, "Nah, it's not a big deal. She won't do it," and then she did it. I mean, seriously, like that happened in like an hour. Then I bought another Camry hybrid that was the same model, and then I ran into a deer. And so I thought that was a sign. I thought it was the universe telling me that I need to be driving those cars anymore, so I got a Hyundai. And my Hyundai Sonata has been incredible. So why don't you shut up, Hornatius? My Hyundai Sonata has been incredible, so leave me alone. Obby Travel says, "Oh, RAV4 diss." Psh, got him. Nobody cares, man. RAV4s are cool. Ravine says, "If you're going to drive a RAV4, better go to Lynch Toyota." Absolutely, man. I'm going right there. Right. That's exactly right. I did go by Lynch like a week ago or less, maybe. And they had so much traction on their cars. Like every time they get a new car in, like a new Toyota, they sell it. I mean, this stuff goes so fast. Everybody knows that Toyotas are really, really good. So there you go. Solo Tigre says it's really a Stultzy diss. That's interesting that you would know that he drives a RAV4. But whatever. Mobile Alum says Kiffin wants to come here because it's the best. He has a chance to beat Saban. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I do think that Auburn gives you a better shot at that than Ole Miss in general. Though I think Ole Miss is probably a better ball club right now than Auburn. Uh-oh, somebody talking about Sammy? Better not be ragging on Sammy. Sammy's my guy, man. I love me some Sammy. Was Sammy talking some smack? I don't see it. Sammy's one of our friends from the Rebel Grove site, and Sammy's he got me a shirt from the Del Mar Breeders' Cup last year, so Sammy's good with me forever. Pipe says, Jay, you need to drive a truck. That's what all pipe. Do you drive a truck? He says that's what all pipe layers do. Do you drive a truck? You don't seem like a truck driver to me, to be fair. And also, I do want to say something about you, Pipe. First of all, your wife, Daphne, I'm a big fan, which I think should go without saying. But I don't think that you're the, if you want to know my opinion, I don't think you're the king of the roost there. I think that she is. So, how do you feel about that? And Jordan, if you're watching still, you know what I'm talking about. Kanuman says, wait a minute, where are we going? Making a murderer did to RAV4 is what OJ did to white Broncos. You know, I don't know as though I remember that much about making a murderer. I saw that a long time ago. Pipe says, I drive a truck, yes. Well, good for you, bro. I drive a Sonata. Who cares? Chip says it's 3-2. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Touchdown, Nevada. So it's not going to be 3-2. How about that? Well, I mean, I'm here to answer questions, but if we're done, then we're done. But if we're not, then we're not. It's that simple. I don't mind. I'll stay on here all night. I don't care. But Corey Dubb trying to bring it there. He's trying to get on me about Leslie Metcalf, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not taking your bait. Nope. I'm not doing it. Mobile alum, I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't like the sound of that.
It's time.
Administrative assistant's trying to give me the wrap-up sign.
Look at your phone.
Oh. Well, I don't have my wrist thing on. Oh, Courtney sent me some texts here that I don't have my wristwatch on, so I don't get them. She says, you're a little bit lit. Wrap it up. Getting to be that time. Wrap it up. I got to wrap this puppy up. Let's see. Darkside says, I drive a sports car. Pipe still gets laid. Are you talking about the Pipe, or you're talking about your own Pipe? Pipe says, Daphne drives a Hyundai. I hope she drives the right one. The Sonatas and the Santa Fe's are made here in Montgomery. Warrigal0008 asks, how good is Yo Torore? Better than I thought he would be, honestly. I mean, he's a big time recruit, so I mean he should be good, right? But I was like, he's a true freshman. I don't know, like, dude can play. And they still got 3 months before the season starts. Like, they're gonna get him even better with Ira and Wes and BP and Steven and Chad working with him, Ian Borders and my main man, Mike Burgermaster, kind of giving him some tape. That kid, I don't know. The athleticism is incredible right there.
Okay. It's 3.5 hours. It's time to go. It's not even a game day.
She says 3.5 hours is not even game day. Like, I don't even know what that means. You see it? Chris H wanted me to drink. Did you know somebody thought there wasn't any bourbon in here? They thought this was just like a hollow tube.
That's great. Let's go.
Taylor says Montgomery Hyundai is courtesy of child labor. That hurts, man. That hurts. Hornatius says, let's unwrap this thing. What are we unwrapping? What are you talking about, bro? I don't understand. Canoeman says, oh, how I missed the b-ball talk. Yeah, for real. Hey, can I do a basketball thing real quick? No? I can't do it. I can't do it next week, though, because we're going to be doing football. J-Dog says, if you had to bet your life savings, is Harson the head coach at Auburn in 2023? No. No. Absolutely not. I mean, I'm not like cheering against him or anything like that, but like, no, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to get it done. Matt says, excited for another great brain drain year, JG. Oh, yeah. We got a lot of shows coming up. I mean, we're going to be going every Saturday night, and we're going to be doing our thing and just kind of getting loaded and talking about Auburn. So, for real, I mean, we're going to be doing this thing. Matt, thank you for your support so much, bro. Pipe says he's got to go lay some pipe. See y'all next week. Pipe, what? Bro. Courtney is really, administrative assistant is really giving me trouble here. Corey Dub says, give administrative assistant a hug from me. You want to give me? Can I give you a hug?
Not right now. Not till you get off the air.
She won't give me a hug till I get off the air. All right, guys, I'm just going to wrap it up. We had a very inauspicious start when I lost power 2 minutes into the show. And you guys are still here, and it's very much appreciated. CDF, bro, I have not forgotten. Stephen P., I have not forgotten. All of you guys, incredible. We had so many super chatters that have been absolute legends. So many. I don't even know how to. I don't even know how to start. Mobile alum, incredible tonight. Sterling, thank you for being here. I want to thank you myself. Also, Pocket Watch and Kanuman for just being absolute legends, as always. Dark Side, thank you for being here, bro. Solo Tigre was our first chatter of the whole year. Start to finish. Has a new baby. Fired up about that for you, bro. For you and your wife. It's incredible. Thank you for being part of our site. Hornatius says, next thing you know, administrative assistant is going to start having to give you permission to buy a vehicle. I want you to know that I bought my own car. I didn't need my wife's permission. Some people do. That's fine. I'm not going to judge you. Ravine, love you, bro. Patrick D, legend. If you're still here, I love you, bro. Also, Stephen P, unbelievable. I don't even know what to say. And also to our man, Jake G, who's behind the Ranked app. If you guys have not got it on your phone, you need to do it. It is your one-stop shop for all the college football stuff. They've got the odds. They've got the times. They've got the matchups. They've got the ELO ratings. They've got the lines. And they've got all your stats, too. I'm telling you, I was following this stuff long before I got into any kind of deal with him. And now we're going to be working together all season long. And I'm so fired up because I love the app. It's really, really good on its own merit. So check it out. Ranked College Football. Search for it on the Google Play Store or the App Store. I have it on my phone, and I've had it there a long, long time because I rely on it every single day. Guys, we're going to wrap it up there. We will see you guys next weekend for Auburn at home against the Mercer Bears. Why are you laughing? Mercer. Hold on, I'll give you a Roy D. Mercer. Roy Mercer.
How big a boy are you? Well, it don't make no difference. Just bring her on down. You're tough as hell on this phone.
We'll give a little Roy D. Mercer there. And you would think that Auburn would win that game, but, we'll just kind of see what goes on. J-Dog says enjoy the show. Thanks, JG, of course. Corey, I appreciate you, bro. You super chatting. You've been here all the way through. We appreciate you, man. D. Lucky also as well. My man, how much do we love D. Lucky? D. Lucky and Mrs. D. Lucky, absolute legends. Legends. How many bunks have stayed in our house? One. And it's D. Lucky. We love him. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up because the administrative assistant is really on my ass here. You will not leave, will you? You will not leave. So until we see you next weekend, we'll be doing a short pregame show, in-game, and then post-game as well. Until I see you then, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars. Love you guys. Make great decisions. Let's be real. See you guys.